Peyton Manning is 50 today to make people feel old. But do we list 4 quarterbacks? You got one game. Who you playing? Peyton, Tom, John, Dan, Joe Montana. I don't. I'm just kind of we. Mahomes. Just. Or do we just do a segment on that? You're the historian. I just thought, Peyton's 50.
Huh.
He's so old now. Caitlin Clark is in far more ads than he is.
But Shaq's got them both beat still.
I think you're right. Although Shaq sold his, Shaq sold his rights to himself, basically, to those 2 guys that run all his, stuff. But you are right.
But half those ads are companies that Shaq owns.
Well, those 2 guys also do. I mean, if you ever saw that story on 60 Minutes, he has 2 guys that basically own the rights to Shaq. They tell him what to do.
We got 5 seconds, by the way.
Ooh, we need the clock. I don't hear anything. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X on this Tuesday. Now the break feels real. In the madness, we get ready for the baseball season, which starts in about 36, 38 hours. Ready or not, here it comes. The Masters is just around the corner. The draft is a month away. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
David, I am having a little trouble. I mean,
excuse me?
Well, after 4 days and dedicating about 40 hours to college basketball.
Yeah.
I sat on the couch and shook yesterday most of the day without anything to watch.
I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
There wasn't anything on. David, I turned an NBA game on last night.
What?
I didn't. After about a quarter, I'm like, I really wasn't paying attention. I was on X. I was on TikTok. I talked to my mom, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. This is terrible.
Wow.
Unbelievable. It was the most depressing sports day I've had in months. When you get to the NFL season, you know what's up. You know that Mondays and Thursdays are gone. And you gear everything towards at first Saturday and Sunday, and then just Sunday. And then maybe you watch a little golf in the off week. And then you got Phoenix before the Super Bowl. If you're a golf fan. If you're not, I don't know what you do. But David, I didn't watch any golf for 4 days. I didn't care. They were playing 15, 20 minutes from where I'm staying. Couldn't have given a rip.
It's a good tournament, too.
Whatever. Who cares?
Wow. Just
yippee-ki-yay. Brandt Snedeker almost won. How good of a tournament could it have been?
But he fell apart on Sunday, so he didn't come close. But wow.
But I mean, the madness. It was all right there, David.
I know.
As a friend of ours once said, it was Texas Tech, it was Alabama, it was Michigan State, it was Kentucky losing. I mean, there were so many, Kansas losing. There were so many wonderful things happening in front of me.
Right. They need a break. They got to travel.
I don't need a break. They need a break.
I said that. They need a break. They have to
What about
travel.
me?
They have laundry to do.
What about me?
What about you? What about you?
It hurt.
Very grumpy this morning. I don't even know.
No,
if
I'm not grumpy, David. I'm not grumpy. I'm in pain. Mental anguish.
Wow, this has never hit you like this before. You know, it's
Like
the whole Groundhog Day thing that you got going on right now. That's the problem. You don't have enough variety in your life. You got to do the same thing every day, and so you had
leave.
I know. So you had a 4 to 6 day routine here because we even counted the first 4. Okay. And then, yesterday you broke from the routine. You were back to, at 10:01. What do I do? What do I got going on?
You're right. Unfortunately, it's a little later than that for me because I got a couple of post-show things that take, 15 or so minutes. And the weather was beautiful.
It was.
So I decided, because I got to watch how much I'm outside. I'm not supposed to get sun. I won't bore anybody with the details, but they don't want me outside a lot, particularly in the middle of the day.
Do you have one of those big ass hats?
I have a smaller hat. I've been wearing ball caps. I've thought about going to that, but it's already bad enough, David, that I walk on a campus with a lot of young people.
Right.
I don't think wearing that hat and drawing attention to myself is really the best of ideas. I will say the one thing I noticed yesterday, classes get out at around 10:45. That seems to be the end of a lot of classes. It got a lot busier at 10:45 on campus yesterday.
Good to know.
Because I'm strolling right past the business college and one other college at 10:45, and there's a lot of kids out. A lot of them.
All right. Okay. How about this? Quick sidebar. All right. There's 2 ways you can go here. You can go the understated look, which is seemingly the way you're going, or how about, because you've got about 6 more weeks is the plan.
That's about right. Yeah.
Right. 6 more weeks is the plan for you to be on campus there in Tampa. So why don't you go Craig Sager with the sombreros?
Wow.
Okay. Say, you know what? Everybody's going to know who I am. Okay. Kids on campus are going to be like, oh, look at that guy there. Look at the hats he has. Yesterday he had on the big yellow thing. Look at him today. It's lime green. Okay, look at that.
That, and along with one other thing, you and I are Letterman fans, or were Letterman fans, big Letterman fans.
Right.
One of the recurring characters for many of years in the beginning of the show, and then they had a falling out because I think he wanted more money and Letterman dumped him, was Larry Bud Melman.
Right.
I will never forget one of the first times I saw Larry Bud Melman. It's when people in the audience asked him questions. And there was a decent looking younger guy. And he says, how do you get the best looking girl on campus to notice you're alive? And I'll never forget Larry Bud Melman's answer, because he said, first, gain a lot of weight, because if there's more of you, there's more of you to see. And then yell her name really loudly when you see her. So if I go with the big sombrero,
right,
and take the headset, take the earbuds out, no music, and just say hello to everybody as I pass them, they'd know who I was, wouldn't they, David?
They would. Either that, or you keep the buds in and don't have anything playing in them, but just pretend that you do and just start singing songs loudly. Like, first one I would try is Roxanne. Okay. Get the loudest hat you can. Okay. And then be walking wherever you're walking. Roxanne, you don't have to. And just, and then you can just go from there. You'll get suggestions every day. Hey, why don't you sing this song today? Okay.
It's too bad I can't sing. I might try. That would probably be better that I can't. But
I think so.
I think you're right. So, all right. I may go sombrero shopping on Amazon after the show.
It's just a thought. It's something to consider. Okay. Because here's my question. Are you going to have to wear these sombreros for like the rest of the year?
Oh, for the rest of my life. I mean, they have basically said me and the sun are not friends anymore, which is bothersome.
Sure.
Because I play a lot of golf,
And you've
like,
got
I think I'm going to be the
thing.
guy in those sleeves that you see people wear. You know, they just come up to your bicep and down to your wrist. I think I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
But here's my thought: if you're going to be big sombrero guy, okay, first off, one of them should be the old Bucks colors. One of them should be a creamsicle.
I totally agree.
If you're going to become big sombrero guy. But if this is going to become a thing, then you know, buy your first ones here and take them home with you. I mean, you're going to be enjoying that pool. Okay, maybe not for as long as you used to, but you're going to be enjoying that pool. Okay, you'll have to wear a big sombrero.
So big definitely, sombrero. You might be onto something there, David. You cheered me up. Way to go. Good job.
Well, I was concerned. You had the shakes yesterday. I mean, that's like me traveling to Collier County. I mean, I can't be having anybody else on the show having the shakes. So, big sombrero. Plus, not only that, it'll give us all gift ideas. Makes it so much easier for us now. You got a birthday coming up in August.
We helped everyone today.
Right. You got Father's Day coming up in June. You got birthday coming up in August. And now it's like being a kid again. You know, get him a blue sweater. Okay. Nah, get Mark a big sombrero. What color does he have? Just grab whatever you want.
And don't worry, I know all of you are asking. We still won't sell anything. No matter how much people ask, there will never be a Miller and Moulton merchandise store because I've now given up. And David's the one that wants it. And since he has no idea how to do it.
Right.
There you go.
David Sampson was trying to help us / me pull it off, but that's been put on hold with everything that's going on with him and his family. So, you know, maybe we'll get back to it someday, but it is another thing potentially to put on the cart. Okay. You know, when you're online and you're buying and hey, Miller and Moulton, I'll get a shirt and I'll get a coffee mug. And how about a sombrero?
Miller and Moulton on a Tuesday. That means sombreros and Pat Kerwin.
Right.
I would imagine Pat wears a big hat when he plays golf. He looks like a guy that would have a big hat on.
Huh.
I'm going to have to ask.
Bigger hat fishing or golfing?
I think it's the same one.
By the way, is that a poll question or no?
I think you're jumping the gun, but I like where your head's at, David. The fact that you're nominating poll questions this early and not ignoring them, I think is a great start to the show. I really do. That's not mocking. That's genuine excitement for the rest of the day.
Right. I'm excited for the rest of the show, and seemingly I've got your attention for this moment in time. We'll see how I do next segment.
Seems like we're off to a good start. With nothing going on last night, unless you're a fan of the association or women's college basketball, because those were really your choices. TGL. I don't include the NIT. When David gives 3 scores on Monday that I paid no attention to during the starting 5. The live results, the NIT, and NASCAR. And of the 3, I care the most about NASCAR.
Tyler Reddick, baby. Cool. 4 out of 6 to start the year.
I'll tell you what, JJ can drive.
What?
JJ Reddick.
TGL. Man, they were hyping the hell out of that.
And they're going to be hyping it today. Don't call it a comeback. It's a video game. But guess who's playing tonight? We'll have that on the other side. It's a football birthday worth mentioning. And the starting 5, all 25 minutes away on Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, Cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Totally my bad there, David. When Raj said there was 5 seconds, I thought Raj fired that, and I'm hearing it in my headsets, and I didn't want to put mine on because I thought we'd have two overlapping one another.
Oh.
So that was totally on me. I'm like, oh, Raj remembered to do that, but I forgot that I can still hear it on mine. So that's
fine.
I'd go old school, Shimko. I've got the Joel Damon bucket hat. I've got one of those here. I don't like it because it's got the strings on it. It's more of a fishing hat, so it doesn't fall off, and the strings drive me batty. Probably going to have to cut them off.
Anytime we can go Chai Rodriguez. It's a good morning.
Yeah, Mark, I probably should have fired mine when I didn't hear yours, but
yeah, but I thought you did. That was my fault. I'm like, oh, good. Raj remembered to play it, and I've got the system set up so I can hear it. But unless I have the screen sharing on, you guys cannot, and that's my bad. I apologize. But it's 6. Who the hell's listening anyhow?
Coffin Bar, are you talking TV ratings or are you talking people in the stands? Because Daytona was completely sold out, and it was sold out early. And the 500 ratings are up. And I thought Atlanta was packed. No reason to yell at us, Paula. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Good morning. Brian, take it easy.
Well, take it easy. He's just saying he's.
No, Coffin Ball, there are a lot of people don't. You know, Mark keeps talking about his son Jake 5 years ago was.
He went to 5 races at least.
He was a gearhead, and now he doesn't even watch. I would love to know why. Like, has he told you why?
Thinks it's boring. Thinks the new car sucks. Hates everything about it. NASCAR doesn't post attendance totals for what it's worth. TV ratings were up for Daytona, flat for the other ones, but it's not down. Just like my quick investigation there.
They brought DW out of mothballs last week for Darlington.
The lady in red.
Or black.
I
know.
I don't think, I mean, that's our mentality. Everything needs to be shorter. The football, baseball season, everybody think but football needs to have a shorter season. I don't know if it needs to have shorter races. I think they need to have better racing by the people that follow it that I know. But you're never going to get me. I don't care. I really don't. And I think it was EB. Have you felt the cars go by? Don't care. Don't want to, don't need to, don't care. In between marriages, I would have loved to have gone to a race. Could have cared less about the cars. Got to remember, I'd rather go to a golf tournament. And that to most you is like watching paint dry. And I get it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We are coming up with a plethora of poll questions for you on this Tuesday. Pat Kerwin will join us later in the show as we're a month away from the draft. I love the fact they are giving kids off from school in the greater Pittsburgh school district for the NFL draft. Now, you can look at that one of two ways. Either that's a school district that gets it. This is a big event for the community, probably a once-in-a-lifetime event. I don't know if Pittsburgh will get a draft in the next 30 years. All right? And they realize, you know what? What the heck? Let's embrace it. Or it's a sign of the apocalypse. Our priorities are staggeringly messed up. And what do they need off from the draft before the draft takes place at night?
That's what I was thinking. I would think it would be the day after the draft if they were attending, but it's not really an event for kids. I mean, the only thing that I can think, David, and I've not gotten into what all of the details of draft day are, but you and I have been in and around enough Super Bowls that they have the NFL experience in a lot of things that go on Super Bowl week.
Yep.
So if they are indeed encouraging kids to come down the day of the draft to do whatever,
Right.
Run routes, kick a field goal, throw a pass, whatever the hell may be going on down there, I would applaud the NFL if they are indeed doing that to try, because there's one demo that every sport struggles with, and that's the young demo. It's the one seemingly that the NBA has, whether it's on social media forums or, YouTube highlights or whatever the case may be. That's what they brag upon, are their views among the younger demo.
Yep.
But baseball, football, hockey all struggle with that 12 to 24 number, if you will. So if that's the plan, and this is somewhat in conjunction with the NFL, then that's an interesting thing to do. But I mean, it starts at what? 7, 8?
At the earliest 7, yeah. I mean, I think coverage begins at 7 at first pick. I don't know, 7:15 or thereabouts. So yeah, at earliest. Yeah.
And it's downtown. There aren't schools downtown.
No, there's not.
But you know what I mean?
No, I know.
Pittsburgh's a great city. My wife's from there. I've been there a bunch of times. I enjoy doing things down. I mean, like whether you're going to a Pirate game, whether you're going to a Steeler game, whether you're going to a Pens game, they've got great mass transit from a lot of areas that get you down there. So
people don't mind walking in Pittsburgh. They'll park within a mile and walk to any of the events that you just talked about. So yeah, it's awesome. Because they got the bridges to go across the river, so it's very convenient.
So okay, if that's what they need to do. I mean, maybe every bus driver's already taken the night off because they're going to the draft.
It's a big community thing.
And I will say they'll get one inside of 30 years, because if you take the Super Bowl cities out, like I don't think Miami, Tampa, New Orleans, LA are getting drafts anytime soon. I think what they're doing with the draft is awarding places that aren't going to get Super Bowls. And Detroit was a home run for the draft.
So was Green Bay.
Right.
Yeah.
And you look at the teams that are close to Pittsburgh. That whole division's close by. You've got a lot of the NFC East teams that are at least within driving distance. You got Buffalo. So there are plenty of fan bases that can get to Pittsburgh for the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they will be there. I think it will. And Pittsburgh will, oh my goodness, will they show out for this?
Yes, they will.
I mean, you're going to see Jack Ham jerseys. You're going to see Jack Lambert jerseys. You're going to see Stalwart, Swan.
Forget the jerseys. You're going to see Jack Ham, I have a feeling. You're going to see Stalwart and Swan. You're going to see Mean Joe. I mean, both Lynn Swan and Mean Joe Green have been reported to have died in the last 90 days, and both are very alive and well. So they'll be out there.
So I think the draft will be a monster. I think it will look terrific where they're having it. I think it will, from a television viewing standpoint, it's going to look really good.
If black and gold are your colors, it will look fantastic. There is no doubt about that. Hey, just going along with you being miserable yesterday and having the shakes, if you're Major League Baseball, should your official opening day be moved up to today?
Yes.
No, I'm being serious.
No. David, you asked a question. I'm answering you sincerely, but I'm answering you quickly. Absolutely.
You're already decided that you're playing games in March. So now the Yankees and Giants play tomorrow night, and most of the rest of the league plays on Thursday. Some don't have their openers till Friday. But if we're trying to do what? Get as much attention as we can as a league. Do you give the Monday after the first week of the tournament for everything to die down, for the talking head shows and for national radio to get done talking about the madness? And then they can transition to, boom, what do we have today? I mean, wouldn't every show in the country, national show in the country, radio or television, wouldn't it be Major League Baseball from 6 a.m. today? And wouldn't it be for at least 2 days?
Well, I'm gonna pause there. Do you think, I'll just use our show, for example. Are we gonna do baseball nonstop tomorrow? Because I may call in sick.
Well, it's just one game tomorrow.
Okay, so then are you saying that the Yankees?
By the way, I just realized what you said. Okay. You're at Hope House, okay, recovering from your bone marrow transplant, and you're going to take a sick day because of the Yankees?
I did a show while getting chemo, and I'm going to take a show off because you want to talk baseball for the entire show.
How many shows did Mark miss? Well, he's missed 3. Really? Yeah. He missed 1 for testing. He missed 2 recovering from test, and he missed a 3rd because of the Yankees-Giants game. Oh, he wanted to watch it. No. He was upset we were talking about it, but that's a whole other story. But no, we would be focused today. The theme today, I'm not saying we do all 4 hours, we do all 12 segments, but yeah, it'd be the start of Major League Baseball season today. We'd get people giving us their opening day memories. First off, how many people have been to a game on opening day? And just, we'd just have fun, talk celebrating Major League Baseball, and then we'd have our results today. And you make sure that everybody's played by tomorrow. If you're not playing today, you're playing tomorrow.
To take opening day off in 2027. Sorry, just making a little note.
Yeah, you do that. Opening day of baseball. Really? Okay, what? Give you the shakes worse than you had it yesterday?
I mean, people want ratings, David. I don't know if you just gave them to them. That's all I'm saying.
But if you're Major League Baseball, okay, once again, 2 days. 2 days. Then you can go back to, just blending in with everything else.
Now, they won't do it, David, but I would have done it on Tuesday. If everyone's playing, then it's opening day. What they have now, you and I both agree, is not opening day. And I understand David and I get the reasons why. We don't have to like them.
Nope. It's a TV show. And so they sold out. Netflix.
But you could still conceivably have opening day and then have the one game at night. At least to me, you could. Everybody could play, and you could take that just the way CBS takes the early window off, so they have exclusive games on Sunday. You could do the same thing with baseball. The starting five is next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Some rings are beautiful. Takori rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Takori brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Takori's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Takori, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
John, Major League Baseball sold off opening day. That's what happened.
Not gonna lie, that's one of the best lines I've ever uttered on this show.
Going to take the day off, calling sick.
And I just like the fact that you were talking, you were 3/4 of the way through the sentence when it hit you.
Then I'm like, wait a minute. He just said he's going to take a sick day. Does he realize his state of affairs? I think he does. That's funny.
I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of that.
It should be. course, there'll be no opening day next year,
Right.
unless we count like August 12th.
Because I mean, now I know their game will be over before the basketball starts, and I think, does Michigan play Thursday or Friday?
I don't know. I think Thursday, but
I mean,
Michigan plays Friday.
okay, so they both play Friday. Okay, ruins my comment because people will then watch Thursday in Detroit.
Michigan plays early Friday.
Sparty plays late. Yeah.
Although Michigan will be finishing right as Michigan State starts because they're staggered.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, the diehards from each don't care about the other and the diehards from Michigan don't care, period. The diehards from State only care if Michigan's losing. There are very few Paulas out there that root for both.
Yeah, Paula, I got to be honest. It doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, but you and I root for all the Florida schools. We want them all to be good.
Yeah,
we don't have
but she's from Michigan, if you know what I mean. You know,
Yeah,
you and I are not from here.
Right.
So it's easy for us to adopt them all. I mean, I've never met anybody from Alabama who roots for both Alabama and Auburn. Although I'd love to meet that person. I got to be honest. Tell you what, the Thursday lineup for ratings is not a good one. In fact, I would have switched the Illinois-Houston and made them an early game. I mean, Texas,
I don't know
Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Arkansas, Arizona, Illinois, Houston.
I mean, Illinois, Houston's far and away the best game, but I don't know, I mean, Houston's a huge city. Chicago's a huge city. So I don't, but when someone from Chicago would have to help me. How big is Illinois and Chicago? I mean, Notre Dame, Chicago. I think of Notre Dame as Chicago's team before I think of the University of Illinois.
I do too. I just look at all four of these games and go,
oh, no, I agree. That's the best game.
There's no real hook here. I would have wanted Illinois, Houston to be the 7:30 start. Instead, it's the 10:05 start. Get ready, by the way. Final Four is on TNT, okay? Get used to it. It's not on CBS.
But DC, I know so many of people I graduated with from Michigan State. They went to Chicago. It's kind of like Atlanta. I mean, everybody from the Midwest kind of goes there, but I could be wrong. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Have we whittled down any of our poll question ideas to a question or two?
Well, I mean, I did give a tease in the opening segment, and Entertainment Tonight'd it. I didn't talk about it at all last segment.
Well,
I want something around that. But, I mean, we can do the sombrero. There's a lot of different directions we can go in. There's a whole other subject that I brought up before the show that you may have just poo-pooed by not even talking to me back about it. No, we haven't really done any whittling.
Okay. Well,
We've not whittled. We need to whittle next break and come up with I'm going to require you to stay in your chair next break because we have to whittle. We're not whittling wood. We're whittling a poll question.
I was going to say I haven't whittled wood in a while, but all right. If I need to whittle a poll question, I can do that. As we approach 20 minutes before the hour, time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community. Saying goodbye to spring training until at least 2028. Building that community through business, sports, and tourism. BST, Business, Sports, and Tourism. Women's tournament wrapped up their first week yesterday and last night. First 3 days of the women's tournament, there were literally only 3 upsets by seeding. And no upset bigger than a 10 seed. The first day to set the Sweet 16, all 8 teams who made it were all top 4 seeds. At least yesterday, there was a little variety. Virginia, 10 seed, needed double overtime. They won at number 2 seed Iowa, 83-75. First time for Virginia in the Sweet 16 since 2000. By the way, how about this indictment for women's college basketball? And you guys know I'm a fan. Mark, Virginia's a 10 seed making the Sweet 16 is the first double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16 in 4 years. Talk about a top-heavy sport. And a sport that sucks all the oxygen out of the mid-majors. Doesn't give them any at-larges. Very short-sighted. Notre Dame made the Sweet 16 for the 15th straight year. The 6-seeded Irish won at 3rd seed Ohio State 83-73. And Kentucky, a 5 seed, edged West Virginia, a 4 seed, 74-73. Next up for Kentucky, a number 1 seed in Texas. UConn led Syracuse at the half, 65-12. I'm going to say that again. UConn led Syracuse, a 24-win Syracuse team that won their first round NCAA tournament game. And UConn led them at the half, 65-12.
And the Syracuse coach had the audacity to complain about having to play against UConn every year. I'm sorry. I don't know. You thought you should have been seated higher? You were down by 50 at the half?
She's just tired of every single year they get put in the UConn pod so that their season comes to an end at the hands of UConn every year in the first or second round.
Okay.
And she's like, you can't send us to play anybody else? And really, we have to come to stores every year? So, top-seeded UCLA beat Oklahoma State by 19. Next up for the Bruins is Minnesota. Number 1 seed, South Carolina. A battle of the USCs. South Carolina against USC. Gamecocks by 40. Next up for South Carolina is Oklahoma. Vandy, a 2 seed, beat Illinois by 18. Next up for Vandy's Notre Dame. And a good one between Louisville and Alabama. The 3rd seeded Cardinals won by 1. Next up for them is Michigan. One other women's college basketball note, Florida hired Rhode Island's Tammy Reese to be their next head coach. She took Rhode Island to the tournament this year.
Some people that they're excited about that, David. You know, I don't follow this. Is that considered? I mean, I saw, a lot of people that I follow that follow Florida were excited about that. Is that a good hire?
They haven't gotten women's basketball right in 30 years.
Okay.
So I don't trust them, to be honest with you. I thought they should have stolen. It would have cost money and they don't want to spend it on women's basketball. They don't. But I would have stole the coach at Ole Miss, okay, who was at Jacksonville before she went to Ole Miss, okay? Coach,
you know better than I. I'm just asking the question. This isn't my bag.
Listen, when Carl Semesco was at FGCU, that job opened twice, and they never even interviewed him.
He's a man. They typically don't hire men for women's programs anymore. I know he was great, and I know he's now in the WNBA, but I get it.
Men's hoops, Randy Bennett did leave St. Mary's for Arizona State after all. He's from the Phoenix area. The job's always intrigued him. Had a hell of a run at St. Mary's. Went to like 18 tournaments in 24 years. Cincinnati hired Utah State's Jared Calhoun. He's a Bearcats alum, was a GA on Bob Huggins' staff back in the day. That goes a long way in Cincinnati. Former Cincinnati coach Wes Miller, I nominated him yesterday for the South Florida job. Well, he'll have a chance to coach against South Florida because he's going to be in the American. He got the job at Charlotte. And March Madness ratings. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Which way would you guess they are going first few days of the tournament?
I'm going to go thumbs up. I know people complain, but the fact that so many complained leads me to believe they all watched.
Thumbs up. Highest rated March Madness in 15 years thus far. Now, the weekend numbers haven't come in, but there were an awful lot of big boys playing on the weekend. I don't know that those ratings will go down.
You've got Kentucky, you've got Kansas, you got UConn, you got Michigan, you got Michigan State, you had UCLA playing. St. John's. Ratings for the weekend, my guess went up, David.
NBA, 10 games yesterday. What a horrible loss for the Magic. Wow.
You got
at home right. To the Pacers, who had lost 16 in a row and had the worst record in the East. And Indiana beat them 128-126. The Magic now the 8th seed. Remember the Heat, the great run, got them all the way up to the 6th seed? Yeah, they're back to being the 9 seed. The Spurs went to Miami and won by 25. Is it me, or did this never happen before? Like a decent team at home losing by 25?
I don't know. Wemby talking about the MVP after the game says it should be his.
Yeah.
I like the lobbying. I love watching the guy play. He's one of the exciting. He plays every night. He plays hard every night. He's what the NBA needs more of.
Well, and there's a little bit of an OKC backlash because the whole league thinks that they're getting calls.
Well, they're a little boring. Their style is not super exciting. You've pointed that out before, David.
Spurs have won 6 in a row. Good one in Detroit. Pistons got up by double digits. Lakers came back, took the lead, only for Detroit to hold them off at the end, 113-110. Snapped the Lakers' 9-game winning streak. Remember, Pistons doing this without Cade Cunningham.
LeBron was scoreless in the first half. I believe that's only the 3rd time in his career that that's happened.
OKC went to Philly, beat the Sixers by 20. Sixers have fallen to the 7th seed. The Hawks are the 6th seed, a game up on Philly. They won at home over Memphis by 39. Unreal. Bulls beat the Rockets 132-124. Toronto won in Utah by 16. A good one in Dallas. Warriors in overtime over the Mavs, 137-131. Clippers beat the Bucks by 33. Blazers beat the Nets by 35. I'm not kidding. All right. And I like the NBA. I don't hate the NBA. I don't like the product now, but I don't have a negative feeling about the league as a whole. You couldn't get me to buy tickets to an NBA game right now. A, I don't know who's going to play, and B, over half the games are uncompetitive.
Well, and you've got 6 teams at least that aren't trying. They're not trying.
Disgusting.
And one of them was the Pacers, and they won last night.
One game in the NHL, Ottawa 2-1 over the Rangers. Big 2 points for the Sens. They're now 2 points behind the Islanders for the final playoff spot in the East, and they have a game in hand. Ottawa and the Wings tonight in Detroit. Both teams out of the playoffs as of now. Huge game. By the way, the Kraken purchased the majority ownership of the arena they play in, Climate Pledge Arena. Why is that important? Well, because this week the NBA Board of Governors are going to meet and probably award expansion franchises to Las Vegas and Seattle, not to specific ownership groups, but to the cities. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson met with Adam Silver yesterday just to make sure. The Braves, Mark, now have 5 starting pitchers on the injured list to start the year.
Wow.
Spencer Strider was added to the list yesterday with an oblique injury. Yeah, they'll be lucky to get him back May 1st. 5 starting pitchers, Mark. It's Chris Sale, and hold your breath for the Braves to start the year.
No two bigger fans of Chris Sale than the hosts of this show. He's not a number 1 starter anymore. The Braves were dangerous if he was a 2 or a 3, but now he's their ace.
Well, I would disagree with you on that, actually. I mean, but he's all they got. Okay, and ideally he'd pitch every 5 days because they try to work him a day rest. But man, the Braves, who were sunk by injuries last year, and they are up against it to start this year. NFL news: Seahawks sign JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, the wide receiver who has 2 years left on his rookie contract. Add 4 years, $168.6 million on top of it. So he's under contract through the 2031 season. The guaranteed money essentially covers through the 2030 season. So the next 2 years is his rookie deal. And then beginning in 2028, he'll be making 42 and change a year. Bucs signed Carolina linebacker Christian Rosaboom yesterday. Rosaboom, a run stuffer who led the Panthers in tackles with 122, not good against the pass, but the Bucs got him for cheap on a 1-year deal, so they signed the 29-year-old. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know, courtesy of Lee County, Florida, saying goodbye to spring training till at least 2028. They hate when I say that.
Exactly. I'm going to get the text. I'm going to get the email. He doesn't come after you. He's like, really? Can you tell Moulton to lighten up, Francis?
It's not our doing. Don't get
That's
mad
true.
at us. Don't get mad at us. Besides, we gave you a year's notice. We told you in 2025 to start preparing for no spring training in 2027. Anyway, Lee County, Florida, got a lot going right and building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism.
It is a big deal, though, to Arizona and to Florida, because
huge.
As much as you can say we gave them a warning, and we did, they really can't go out and book things for March because they can't act as if they're abandoning their spring training partners.
Right.
They can't.
Nope.
So, whether it's Port Charlotte, Clearwater, Venice, all these cities that have spring training teams, they got to sit there and basically wait for MLB to tell them, yeah, we're not going to be there for spring training. And it's a huge kick in the shorts to all these communities who rely upon spring training for a lot of bed tax money and a lot of other things. This is the trickle-down effect of what the labor stoppage in Major League Baseball is going to do, not just in Major League Baseball cities, but in spring train cities. A poll question when we come back.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend, the Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ambien, I don't get. I really don't get this. You're giving me a hard time because I pointed out a fact in a sports news segment. I'm not giving him a break. I'm merely pointing out something that's only happened 3 times in a career that spans over 20 years. It's relevant. I'm not bashing him. I didn't say anything badly about him. I pointed out a fact. And you're all worried because he's 41. I don't give a damn. Seriously. It's a sports news segment. And when I say seriously, Siri goes off on my damn phone. All right. Poll question. I had the QB one because it's Peyton's 50th. Oh, goodness gracious. In NASCAR, I'd watch a women's college hoop game before I'd watch a race, DTW. NASCAR, it just puts me to sleep. I find it incredibly boring. And the fact that Ross Chastain sucks now, I find it even more boring. Because at least I would look forward to David doing it on Monday and hoping that Ross had a top 10, and he seemingly can't finish a race, and when he does, he finishes 17th. You have to watch one women's college basketball. We could do something on Peyton, quarterback starting one game, he's 50. I think we have to wait till tomorrow, unless you want to put it, you only get to watch one. What are you watching? Giants, Yankees opening day, Tiger in the TGL.
Okay.
or the TGL versus the women's NCAA. There's no real day to do, anything with that.
I don't think that question will elicit a big response. But if we got to do it, we got to do it.
I think the quarterback one might.
I do.
I just don't know what four you pick. You go, it's not when you have to pick one. None is never an option, Stove Up. I know you love to do that every time you don't like our question, but the point is you have to watch one.
Peyton, Tom, Joe, and Mahomes would be my nominees.
Okay. I'm down with that. Now that Peyton's not doing ads more, who's the king of advertising in sports? Caitlin Clark, Patrick Mahomes.
Shaq.
Yeah, I know. And I knew that would be the first thing. Do I have to phrase it of these Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Chris? See what I did there? Took your guy right out of the equation.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us on this Tuesday. Pat Kerwin to join us 1 hour from now to talk all things NFL. You got me thinking during the break, and I know you're typing up poll questions right now, so
I've not hit post. I'm just getting us ready.
Okay. So if it need be, I'll just talk to myself. I'm an only child. I did that for many a year. But so my nephew was over the other day, and he's a big hockey guy, and he loves Crosby. Crosby's his favorite player. They both
you don't hear that very often outside of Pittsburgh.
Right. He's his favorite player. Okay, a little bit of bias. They both went to the same school, albeit, 9 years apart, because he was a really good hockey player when he was young. So he went to Shattuck, St. Mary's, just like Crosby did. And so we were talking, and I said to him, I go, what's amazing is I think he's the best player of his generation, which means you have to put him ahead of Ovechkin because their careers overlap to the day, basically. Okay. But I do think he's the best player of his generation. And I think you can argue he's one of the 10 best players all time. And yet, he's only the second best player in franchise history.
Right. And unfortunately, it's really not close.
Yeah. Period.
I mean, but if you take away some biases, Lemieux might have been the best player to ever play the game.
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt if he had stayed healthy, okay, Gretzky's numbers would have been better, but we would, quite frankly, there are players who in the NBA who have better numbers than Jordan. Jordan did not retire as the all-time leading scorer. Okay.
He just got passed for Durant, passed him. He's now 6th.
Right. He's not even in the top 5 anymore.
Right.
But yes, if Lemieux had stayed healthy, I think Gretzky would have had the records, but there would have been a legitimate conversation of was 66 better than 99.
And when you put their A games next to one another, it's really, I love Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
It's really difficult
close.
to pick Wayne. But Lemieux, one being French Canadian, hurt him. There are things that Gretz had that Lemieux didn't get credit for. It's just the way it is. And trust me, I'm a Gretzky guy.
But you mentioned earlier that Peyton turns 50 today.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm asking a serious question. And it's an opinion question, so there is no wrong answer. Is he the best quarterback in Colts history? If you were given the assignment to be a Colts historian, is it Unitas or Peyton? That's your
David,
first team quarterback.
I've got to take an incomplete because this is where I mean, I didn't watch Johnny Unitas play. It's before my time. I don't study the history of when did he play, in the 50s and 60s or just the 60s?
Yeah, the guts of his career was the 50s and 60s, and it was done by the very early 70s. Yes.
Right. So I can't give you an honest answer, but I do think it's a healthy debate among Colts. I mean, if you were to get, 70-year-old, 75-year-old Colt fan, I think it would be a healthy debate.
And there are certain franchises that, whether at certain positions or they've just been fortunate enough to have at least two stunningly great players, trend-setting players. I mean, Unitas set all the records when he played. Whose records were Tarkenton and Marino and then Breeze and Manning and Brady breaking? They were breaking Johnny Unitas's records. And they played roughly the same amount of time for the Colts franchise. They won similar numbers of championships, by the way. In fact, Unitas won more, albeit granted, most of them were pre-Super Bowl era. But, I mean, they're just like, to be honest, and we've gone down this road and we stop after like 3 to 5 minutes. But who's the greatest Yankee of all time? I mean, seriously? Now,
I mean, if you want to just go quarterbacks, I think all Packer fans would vote Favre because they liked him more. Who was better, Favre or Rodgers? And I'm not even getting into Bart Starr.
Exactly. So it's, just interesting conversations that you can have of all-time greats. Peyton Manning is an all-time great quarterback. And yet you wonder, would he be first-team quarterback on an all-time Colts roster?
Depends on if you did the poll in Indianapolis or Baltimore, David.
Could very well be. I mean, what's the in-between point? Pittsburgh? Okay, do we do the poll in Pittsburgh?
Maybe Cincinnati. I don't know, but I see where you're coming from.
Oh, but it's just like it would be interesting even in Pittsburgh. Okay, we know what the Super Bowl tally is. All right. Better quarterback, Bradshaw or Roethlisberger?
Bradshaw.
Okay.
Bradshaw.
I got no problem with it. But
you know where they couldn't do this poll? Miami.
Why is that?
They've only had one.
That's not true. They had Greasy. All right.
Yeah, I know. That's
Hall of Fame quarterback.
Okay.
Come on now.
All right. Good. All right. I'm glad you did that to me because I'm coming right back at you. Should Bob Greasy be in the Hall of Fame?
Well,
no. It's just a yes or no question.
Well, he wasn't for me. Okay. But then again, I didn't get a vote. In fact, Greasy's Hall of Fame speech, I think it was Brian Greasy, who was the one in the family that apparently was giving his dad a hard time about not being in the Hall of Fame. And Greasy stopped this speech and said, and Brian, this is for you. Okay, kind of like, I am a Hall of Fame quarterback, no matter what you say, son. But I just find certain things like that interesting that, I mean, Sidney Crosby. Okay, Mark, if you don't think he's one of the 10 best, he's one of the 20 best players of all time, right?
Oh, and hey, David, I mean, obviously he scored an overtime game winner in Game 7 to win a cup. He scored the golden goal for Canada. I mean, his status in the game, because he's won the championships. He's won the final game.
Yes, multiple times in the Olympics and for the Penguins.
And I would, it would be tough because when you look at top 10 list and you start going back and the Howes and the Orrs and the Espositos, where are they on the list? Not to mention about 10 Montreal Canadiens just by themselves from pre-74, if you know what I mean.
Right. We have two lists, ladies and gentlemen. We have the all-time NHL list, and then we put it up against the all-time Canadiens list, and we see which one is better.
And it's the same thing you could do with the damn Yankees and the rest of baseball. I mean, you really could.
Doubt. Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
And this all started because before the show, I just said to David, I said, Peyton Manning's 50 today. And I just thought out loud, I said, and I'm doing this just to keep Marino out of the conversation. If you could start one Super Bowl winning quarterback for one game, who would you choose? And first off, just to get to 4 there is a hell of an argument. What 4 are you going to pick? And even if we go recency bias, what 4 are you going to pick?
I'll be serious. I mean, is it possible Peyton Manning, who won Super Bowls for the Colts and the Broncos, could be second team quarterback for both franchise in their all-time history list?
Yes. Yes, it is. Because when you were doing the whole thing about Unitas, in my head, I'm going probably Elway first. And I know it was at the end of Peyton's career.
Right. Yep. But
I'm taking their entire careers. Sure. And I'm looking at it and going, I don't know. I might start Elway.
Well, sure. In 16 years versus 4. So there's no doubt Elway.
No. I just mean in their NFL careers, not in Peyton's. No. And I'm not being a jerk.
No, you're not.
I'm talking their NFL careers.
Yes.
You can start one, Elway or Peyton Manning. It's really close.
Yeah. And if you go by Super Bowls, they're tied. Right.
And I know, when you do the Manning or Brady, everybody takes Brady. I get it. He's won more rings. Is that because of the teams he played on, or do you think he's the better quarterback? In David's world, and I give David the credit for this all the time. He always goes back to auto racing, but he goes back to a certain type of auto racing. The IROC series that they tried, where every car was the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was to prove who the best driver was.
Right.
So when we talk about this, we're not talking about Brady versus Manning in terms of who won more Super Bowls. We all know the answer to that. If they were on the same team, essentially, talent was exactly equal.
Right.
Coaching, offensive coordinator, equal.
Yep.
The defense, equal.
I say it all the time in college basketball. If the teams were identical, I would take Pitino as coach.
They'd be on probation, but you might be right.
Yeah, I don't care. Okay. The question is, we're winning a game, right? I would take him. Of all the coaches, that's who I would take. That's just my opinion. And I've always felt that way.
And the proof's in the pudding there. He's been really good at a lot of places.
Except the Celtics. Otherwise, yeah. So I just was thinking about that. It started over the weekend when I was busting my nephew about, no, Crosby's amazing. he's no Lemieux, but he's amazing. And,
how honked off did your nephew get when
No, he got it. No, he got it. He's looked up the highlights, and I said, no, he's, I said, even Crosby knows he's the second best player in franchise history.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. But
because when Lemieux picked him up from the airport, he told him.
And if it wasn't for Lemieux, the franchise wouldn't be in Pittsburgh twice. But anyway, it just got me thinking, Mark. That's all. Happy birthday, Peyton Manning.
Celebrating 30 years in Naples is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Stove Up, I actually disagree with you. I don't think you're hearing the question right. You don't seem to think that if Peyton Manning played for the Patriots instead of Brady, that he wouldn't have won as much. I mean, the Colts never had those kind of defenses, and quite frankly, they didn't have the coaching. So I think that I don't think you're getting the question. I think on an equal team, everything's equal. Who would you start? So you'd start Brady. That's fine. That's your opinion. But I mean, you got to remember, Belichick went for that fourth round inside of his own 40 because of who? Peyton Manning. He wasn't going to give him the ball back. And I'm with you, DC. I think Breeze is great. I don't think he's in Peyton's league. I don't think he's in Brady's league. I don't. He might be. I mean, he was an unbelievably accurate thrower. Yeah, that's. I mean, you're looking at Indy. You know, I mean, Indy could. You know, hell, if Belichick coached Pittsburgh, do you think Pittsburgh would have more championships with Ben? I do. Ooh. Oh, I don't know about that, Jets.
It's kind of a hot take, yeah.
I didn't know Stephen A. was listening. I think Peyton will come in last on this because people think of Indy even though I put in the question, teams were equal. because I think I'm on the 4 on there. I might vote Peyton last. It's close. I think I would have Montana and Mahomes 1 and 2, believe it or not. I would have Brady or Manning 3 or 4.
So that's the one we went with?
Yeah, I went Mahomes, Brady, Manning, Montana. Of these Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, which one would you start if the teams were equal? I know no one will read the last part of that. Oh, I voted for Montana and didn't even realize I pressed it. You're probably right, Chris. I'm sure most of the 4 that I put up are the wrong 4, but those are the 4 that I put up. We kind of decided on it before the show, and that's what we went with. The list sucks, DC.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Probably the most difficult poll question we've ever asked. There is no wrong answer, but man, they all seem really good.
I think we got the wrong 4. I mean, I'm getting told over and over of who should have been on the list. So
you know what? I don't want to say something that'll turn people off, but
I picked the wrong 4, David. That's all I'm telling you.
It's our show. It's our list. Get your own show. Make your own. Otherwise, vote. Don't vote. It's really simple. The show's free, right?
Last time I checked.
Okay.
But in the IROC world that we live in, meaning the teams are equal, that is the biggest part of this question. Teams are equal. Which quarterback are you picking to start one game? Mahomes, Manning, Brady, Montana. There are a million other quarterbacks we could have put on this list. These are the 4 that we decided on.
Only have room for 4, by the way.
Exactly.
So just of the 4, which one would you pick as your starter? Even if the guy you ultimately would pick's not on the list. Of those 4, which one would you pick?
If you're not on X, you can always text us what you think. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line 21,000 is the number. And then you need to type the keyword Miller. If you've never texted the show before, a frequent texter, when we were talking about the Colts' all-time best quarterback, simply said Miller. Jeff George is the greatest Colts quarterback.
You're right, sir. You're right.
Funny. That's funny. See, we can still have a sense of humor. That's good. I like that.
Yep. Jim.
But I have been teasing this since the beginning of the show, and David is doing everything in his power to not let me talk about it because he has zero interest in this. Zero. None.
Here we go.
He is upset that I am bringing this. Is my NASCAR to David. That's what this is. But he's back. He is back. The guy that many of you call the GOAT in his sport is back playing video games, or at least something close. Tonight, the second match in the best of 3 TGL finals is on, and Tiger Woods is playing.
Who?
Tiger Woods.
Isn't he retired?
No, he is not retired. And they lost. His Jupiter team lost last night.
Oh, damn.
They to the LA team, even though all of them play in West Palm.
Right.
That is the most annoying thing about this to me. They should have names like Live Golf, as far as the Crushers and all that. I mean, putting cities behind this is the most laughable thing in the world.
Tiger's team, Rory's team. I mean, seriously, pick your 6, 8 most high-profile guys. I mean, do you know who's on Jupiter? Listen, it's my same thing with the LIV. I don't know who's on the Aces and the Crushers and what have you. You know, you give me Rom's team, Bryson's team, DJ's team. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. It's your segment.
So, David, to tell you, the Jupiter team is made up of guys who really aren't that good. Max Homa, who's having a mediocre year at best.
Yep.
Tom Kim. I don't even know if he's having a mediocre year. Kevin Kisner, who's now a broadcaster. And Akshay Bhatia is their other member, but he is off in India playing in a tournament. So that opens up a hole for one Tiger Woods. And he's playing tonight. Now, for whatever reason, video golf has grown on me because I watched the first one and came on this show and hated it. I've kept watching. When it's on, I leave it on. Now, I'm a golf guy. I love golf. I keep waiting for it to become more interesting. And quite frankly, it hasn't. Their excitement over hitting good shots has gotten better. They're having a little more fun with one another. But they still don't talk as much smack to one another as I would like them to. I would like this to be a little more competitive between the teams. But, the other team is Justin Rose, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sahith Theegala. Those are all, pretty good names on the tour right now, quite frankly. But Tiger is back. I don't know if that will get anybody else to tune in. I don't know how many people will know between now and the start of tonight's match. But it is the finals of this. They have a best of 3 for what it's worth. Tiger's team is down 1-0. They lost yesterday. So Tiger is trying to make a comeback. He hasn't played any golf that we've seen in a long time. I can't imagine he'll even be good at video golf. Now, the good news is he doesn't have to walk. He doesn't have to walk up a hill. He just gets to swing. But what this will do, particularly if he happens to hit good shots tonight, is get everybody talking about what, David?
Oh, please. Please.
Tiger coming back to play in the Masters. Not winning the Masters, just playing in it.
Enough. Seriously, enough already. You're right, though. No, everything you said is true. Okay? Everything you said is true. People just want to see him out there in his red shirt. They do.
Yes.
They
They do.
I know.
I threatened to ask a poll question today, and David said there'll be no interest. And he's probably right. You have to watch one, the women's NCAA tournament or the TGL with Tiger. Which would you watch? And David gave me the hammer. They use the hammer in the TGL. David used the hammer on top of my bald head.
They use the hammer in the TGL?
They have a hammer. It means it doubles what the hole's worth.
Oh, well, I don't know. I haven't watched.
I
No
know you
interest. So that's why when you said they have the hammer in the TGL, I'm like, oh, do explain.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
It
is that
doubles
like
the worth
pressing?
of the hole?
So it's
like
basically pressing.
And if you throw the hammer and the other team doesn't accept it, you win the hole. If they do accept it, the whole is worth double.
Huh.
It's a way for a team to come back if they're down because it's a match play thing.
Right. And it's a TV show.
Right.
So we have to keep it interesting. Listen, I'm staying quiet because the TGL on ESPN before the Olympics, the TGL was doing the same rating on ESPN and ESPN2 that the NHL was doing. So I can't listen. I have absolutely no interest, none, but can't mock it. I mean, love my hockey. The only reason the NHL ratings are better than the TGL ratings now is the Olympics. Post-Olympics, the sport's gotten a real bump. So, but seriously, they on ESPN before the last TGL match or two, they were doing 600,000 on ESPN, 300,000 on ESPN2. That's NHL ratings.
And I will say mostly this year, the TGL has gotten bad time slots. They've had a lot of early starts at like 6 or starts at 9 o'clock. Those aren't conducive to drawing good numbers. But Tiger is back. Do you want your chance to watch the guy in the red shirt tonight? And because he's playing video golf, there will now be talk of whether or not he's going to try to play at Augusta. I don't think it's happening.
Isn't this like him hitting a bucket of balls at Topgolf? I mean, is it much more than that?
Would you go to Topgolf to watch Tiger hit balls? That seems to be the question David is asking. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ooh, I think it's a little better than the combine, but I got you. I think it's, UFL Panda, but that's me. I mean, they actually play something where the combine, they just run. That's all. But I hear you. David, did you see the brawl or mini brawl or whatever in the Central Michigan Toledo baseball game?
Is that the guy running down the first base line?
Our tag.
And the pitcher just, yes.
Anytime we get a MAC baseball brawl, I am all for that.
I agree with you. The good poll question would be, would you go to Top Golf to watch Tiger hit balls? And it's actually...
And I think you'd be surprised how many people would say yes.
I think I might go. There's a chance I'd go, and there's no chance I'd watch TGL.
All right. I'm just telling you right now, I'll give David the warning. I probably will not only watch, but I will text David updates of the TGL just to drive him nuts. I did see they lost another starter. I didn't see the injury. Eddie, I've got to be honest. I mean, first off, too bad for Golden State, but they're irrelevant now. You've heard us talk. The regular season is very difficult to watch, and that was a West Coast game. So no, I was in bed before it started, Eddie. Hate anybody getting injured. I'm not making light of it. I want you to understand that. I never want players to get injured.
Well, sometimes you send out a lot of texts.
Nice.
And you don't get a response till the next day.
Oh, no, I won't do it on air. I'll simply do it to David during the TGL to drive him nuts. Now, his response could be giving me baseball updates during opening day. I mean, this could turn into a war.
Right. I could give him like women's NIT updates.
Oh, my God. Hey, I mean, the tournament got saved. Virginia won.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Pat Kerwin at the top of the hour. Seth Greenberg to talk the brackets in the Sweet 16 1 hour from now. It's Peyton Manning's 50th birthday, which led us to include Peyton in a poll question of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Teams are even. You have to pick one for one game. Who would you pick? Tom, Peyton, Joe, or Mahomes? Those are the choices. There's no wrong answer.
Sorry, David. Based on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, and I've not even checked what the numbers are. It seems to be between Brady and Montana. Those are where I'm getting all of the texts between the two of them. I've not even seen a Mahomes or a Manning on the list. And I think Manning will end up coming in fourth in this because I think it's hard for people to take the teams they played on and how they did against others into account when they pick, Brady over Manning. And whatever you pick, it's fine. And there are other guys that could have been on the list. We get it. We did it because Peyton got on the list because it's his 50th. I mean, we could have done a list of who have you seen on more advertisements in your life, but we thought Shaq would win going away.
Right. Although we thought, Caitlin Clark, Peyton, they'd medal.
Yeah, they would.
They would.
They would. A couple of great texts, David. Pelican Roofing in Florida text line. One that you'll appreciate because I brought up Tiger and the TGL. Person simply just says, with Tiger in the finals, it proves the video golf tournament is fake. And the other one that I really enjoyed that said, when you were reading the golf roster, it reminded me of Major League when they're reading the Indians roster. Well played. Well played. So, Tiger coming back for the TGL for video golf tonight. I'll watch. David is completely incensed that I even brought it up on the show.
I'm not. I can't. Like I said, all right, their ratings are similar to the NHL. So I can't be that big of a hypocrite. I have no interest at all. Zero, zilch, nada. But I can't be a hypocrite because something that I care deeply about garners the same amount of interest from the fans out there. So they feel about the NHL the way that I feel about the TGL.
By the way, what was it last week? Bettman doubled and tripled down on the playoff format. All the players want it changed. 95% of the fans want it changed. I'm one that's fine with it. I love the first round. I love the division matchups. It reminds me, I rooted for the Wings when they were in the Norris and had no shot of getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. They just didn't. They couldn't even get out of their own division. But when they were playing either Chicago or Toronto in the first round, and Toronto seemed to beat them every year, I loved it. The rivalries that I thought it created are worth it. I get the argument when you have a division like the Pacific that is just junk this year. And you have the division with the Avs and the Wild and the Stars that are the three best teams in the conference. And two of those teams are going to play each other in the first round. His argument, though, is we have the best first round of any sport. And I do look at, I don't know if that's how you base your playoffs, but I do agree with that statement. There's no better playoff than the first round of the NHL playoffs. I don't care what sport you like. The NBA doesn't come close. Baseball might be the next best. I don't think football comes close.
Okay. How many rounds are there to the
4.
NHL playoffs? Okay. So we only care about the first one?
No, but it sets the tone for the whole playoff. Ratings don't go down throughout the NHL playoffs. They only go up.
I don't know. I'd argue that because some of the popular teams get eliminated early. Here's my problem with Bettman, and it's not personal to him. I would feel this way about anybody, and I have been this way at times. You have been this way at times on the show and in our personal lives. Here's the problem that I'm having with Bettman right now. First off, it's not a good idea unless he came up with it. I think that's a problem if that's your leader. And I don't care if we're running a hockey league or we're running a ma and pa shop. There's got to be some of the workers that come up with a good idea every now and then. But there are no good ideas unless he came up with it. Secondly, if he came up with an idea, then there's no idea that you could come up with, even 30 years later, that would adapt to the changing times. He is the most stubborn, most arrogant of the commissioners. His sport is trying to tell him, we really don't like this. We really want change. And he is literally sticking his middle finger up at the whole sport.
Can't argue a word you're saying.
And at some point, we're all wrong. At some point, how about if you give what the others are saying a try? This is the NHL playoffs. Do you know how many different formats the NHL playoffs have had? I remember in the 70s, it was 1 through 16. There were 21 teams in the league. 16 of them made the playoffs. You got seeded by your point total. The first round was a best of 3. The Rangers and the LA Kings played a best of 3 where, yes, the games were in New York, Los Angeles, and New York. Sounds pretty asinine, right? But
And think about it. They're flying commercial back then. I mean,
well, right,
you know,
this is 79.
right.
Right.
This isn't chartered planes, kids.
So
No, they've had 1 through 8. They've had 1 through 16. They've had division class. I prefer the division. I know I am in the vast minority. I get it.
I don't know about that because there are an awful lot of people that loved the 80s in which you had to get out of your division first. And you want to know why I hated the Islanders? Because we had to get out of the division with the Islanders, the Flyers, and the Caps. Okay. You want to talk about a tough division in the 80s? In the 80s, the Flyers went to 3 finals. The Islanders went to 5. Okay. Try being one of the other teams in the division. But that's how it was. You and your Wings never seemingly made it out of the division in the 80s. I think they did it one time under Jacques Demers and got destroyed by Edmonton when they did get out of it. Okay, but you loved it. The rivalry's the whole deal. So there is something to the division rivalry. There really is. I just don't like the fact that he is totally 100% adverse to doing anything differently than how he sees it. He's Grand Poobah. It's a dictatorship, and it's not even a benevolent one at times. And if the players didn't negotiate it in collective bargaining, they wouldn't be playing in the Olympics. Who was right? The players or Bettman? The
No doubt.
players.
The only thing I would say, David, and I don't have any proof, I will just offer this up as a rebuttal of sorts. First off, with the Olympics, it wasn't just Bettman. The owners were on Bettman's side completely with that.
Yeah, and they were wrong. And
they were
wrong.
They were. What I am wondering with the playoffs, however, owners, no matter how much money they have, are cheap. They want to save every dollar they can. So while this is Bettman out front, how many of the owners do you think have his back with this playoff format in the first round? Because travel's cheaper. They're probably more likely to sell out games because they're playing division rivals in the first round, which is the hardest round to draw in from an attendance standpoint. It is. So David, I agree with you wholeheartedly of how he runs it. I just don't know how. I've not heard any owners really complain about the playoff format. Now, this would be the year. If I own Dallas, if I own Minnesota, you know, even not even own, if I'm the GM, if I'm Billy Guerin with the Wild, you know, you don't want to say anything and be the guy that looks like he's complaining and moaning about something before the playoffs start. But you're going to lose a really good team early in the playoffs that would have had home ice and been favored against whom they're playing in the division. Now, the East is really close from 1 to 8. It wouldn't have made a whole lot of difference, David. It really wouldn't. But in the West, it would make a tremendous difference. Even if you awarded the other division the second seed, if you will.
Billy Guerin has been speaking up. Okay. And I think he's got some credibility because he was a player. And he played under a different playoff format than the one they have now. By the way, he was a player on teams that danced with Lord Stanley also. Oh, yeah. Never mind what he just did for the U.S. Olympic team. All right. I'd like to think his voice should carry a certain weight. But I do want to answer those that have said, really? Bettman's more arrogant than Goodell? Yes. Not close, by the way. Think about that.
So our poll question, Peyton Manning is 50. Of these Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, which would you start if the teams were equal? Right now, Joe Montana getting the majority of the votes. Well, not the majority, getting the most votes. Brady close behind, Manning way behind them, and Patrick Mahomes in last. And it's not close. I'm surprised by that.
All right. I didn't bring this up yesterday. I didn't put it in the starting 5. I didn't bring it up, but I did bring it up months ago. Did you see what happened with Tom Brady over the weekend?
The flag football?
Uh-huh.
I saw him throw a football at Jake Paul. Other than that, I didn't really see a whole hell of a lot.
He played.
Yeah.
He played well because, well, it's flag football and he's in really good shape and he's pretty good at this throwing the football thing. And just throwing it out there, I threw it out as a possibility. Remember, it's going to be in the Olympics. And we discussed, are the NFL owners going to allow active players to play in it? Or are they going to go, no, risk of injury? Absolutely not. Okay. And then I said months ago, I'll bet you Brady would love to be the starting quarterback for Team USA. I think he did it for a reason.
I didn't watch a second of it.
I didn't either.
Barely read anything about it, but didn't I see that the flag football team made up of non-NFL players beat up the former NFL players in the games?
Could very well have. And they've been arguing that, by the way. They've been arguing that, hey, I know you'll probably want to do it a certain way to get the maximum NFL promotion out of this, but quite frankly, we do this for a living. And yeah, we can't play in the NFL better than those guys, but we can actually play better in the flag football league than those guys. Trust us. So it'll be interesting what they end up doing. But I thought he was doing it for a reason. I mean, what hasn't he done? He has a chance to represent the United States in an Olympics. Here's the other thing. Who's going to tell Tom Brady he's not, sorry, we're choosing somebody else? Who's going to do that?
And I will say, DiCaprio's looked at Brady and said, it seems that you're dating pretty young these days. So he might really enjoy the Olympic Village.
I don't know if he's DiCaprio dating young, though.
I know, but
good line.
Hanging fruit.
It's a very good line. Very good line. But just I'll throw that out there. We'll leave it alone. We'll come back to it in a year or two when it's getting discussed for real. So there you go.
All right. But Mahomes, Brady, Manning, Montana, one game, equal teams. Who are you starting? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin coming up top of the hour. Seth Greenberg after that to talk the hoops. As our guest portion of the show will hit in full stride coming up in about 9 minutes time here on Miller and Moulton. If you don't subscribe to X and want to comment on our poll question, you can always text the show. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line 21,000 is the number. The key word is Miller if you've never texted the show before. So send Miller to 21,000 and then let it rip.
Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. All right. Probably the toughest poll question we've ever asked. At least I think so. There's no wrong answers. We've asked poll questions like that before, but I mean, we've got 4 all-time greats listed in a poll question. And we're asking you to decide amongst 4 all-time greats. Who would you have start that one game to win a championship? Wow, that's tough.
And I thought David may have had 2 better questions when we just throw Peyton Manning out there. Is he first team or second team with the Colts? Pat Kerwin will answer that next.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, guys. How's everyone
Morning.
today? Me, I'm good. It's free agency has calmed down to a snail's pace. I find pro days, as you know, terribly boring, so it's kind of it's a breather before the draft. And nothing made me happier than to watch those NFL guys not know how to play flag football. I'll give you another one. The NFL guys don't know how to coach it either.
Well, that would, for me to have a comment, I would have to have watched.
Yeah, I only watched because I really wanted those kids and guys that play flag football all the time to put a whipping on them, just so they could prove it's a different sport, and they did.
That's probably true. Now the question is, will they figure it out between now and then? Because you know deep down the NFL would rather have the NFL. You know, they're the ones supporting this. They want their guys playing, don't they?
Well, yeah, of course, because to them it's just a promotion of the extension of football into flag football. I get it, but what they really don't get is, and Tom Brady, to be the guy that wants to change the rules so the game fits him, it needs to be more like 7-on-7. No, it's a game. It's played. Quarterbacks that can't move, like yourself, Tom, can't play flag football. It's really fun to watch it happen. But, of course, he's going to try to change it. Which, you get a memo out to the rest of the world as they're practicing?
Well, he'll have his spy there in Vegas. He'll have him send the memo out and tell everyone.
Yeah. Does have the right last name to be Tom's partner. Nope. It was fun to watch. I spent a lot of time on, this is how boring my life could be. I did go fishing. By the way, Mark, I went out Sunday. It was flat calm. We left in the dark at 6 a.m. and Well, we were on our way out to 60-mile mark, and we got 42 miles. And Stevie said, this used to be one of our old holes. So I said, well, let's give it a whirl. What did we catch right away? 2 little snappers who we put back down on hooks, and we kept slamming big grouper.
Is grouper season open?
We're on the fillet and release program.
Yes, Pat, this was brought up earlier. Which sport do you wear a bigger hat in?
Fishing or golf?
Fishing. You're out there on what I call the aluminum foil, which is the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes.
And you're sitting on it. And at every angle can get you. There are no trees, and when you play like me, you know where the trees are. My ball's a magnet to them. Nope. I mean, I wear the same hat. I just wear a baseball cap, but a lot of guys, like my partner, they wear big sombrero things when they're fishing.
Here we go.
Very good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We're halfway home, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete. Final hour of the show in Southwest Florida. Port Charlotte, Venice, Live Oak Lake City. We're Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. ESPN Seth Greenberg in about 35 minutes to talk all things college hoops. But it's that day and time again to welcome Pat Kerwin. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is now weekdays 3 to 6 during the season. He's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Don't know if you caught wind of our poll question. There is no wrong answer, but in honor of Peyton Manning's 50th birthday, we included him in a very difficult poll question, which is, you got one game. You can only pick one quarterback. Brady, Mahomes, Montana, or Manning. Who you going with?
That's a great question. Well, Brady has the biggest credentials, right? Most Super Bowl wins.
But we're saying all teams are equal. They're basically playing quarterback for the same team.
Probably Mahomes, because I think Mahomes can do more on his own than the other guys. The other guys need protection, and they're going to stand in the pocket. What did Mahomes do? The only time Mahomes got in trouble in Super Bowl is when he had 0 tackle play. And he couldn't help but get crushed over and over again. He almost won anyway. So no, I like Mahomes because I think the modern game requires some more athleticism than the other guys have.
And Pat, we were talking during the break, so I want our audience to hear it, those that aren't listening on YouTube and Twitch. But you watched this flag football. I didn't watch a second. So I am just curious, your thoughts about the flag football. Brady played. David thinks he's going to want to play for a gold medal, and David very well may be right. But they got beat up by the ex-NFLers got beat up by the flag football players. Just your thoughts, because I know you watched it.
Well, Tom Brady immediately wanted to change the rules. He wants to customize the game to his skill set. He wants it to be 7-on-7. They've been playing flag football for a long time. This is what the game is. He's not the best kind of athletic quarterback for the game. Those guys play receiver. They run around. They play defense. They have to move. So, Tom, we're not changing flag football for you. And I'll say this. The Americans don't need NFL players to win the gold medal. But the NFL wants it to be a bunch of NFL guys. They envision the same thing that basketball got when they let the pros play. It's a different game. And I would think what we learned watching that was the guys who have been playing flag football know how to play flag football. The other guys thought they'd walk in and just be able to play NFL football, and then he found out they couldn't do it. What I say is this. It's physically dangerous. The the Olympics going to end right before camp. We got to get away from the idea. And the NFL is so nice. Oh, we're going to honor your contracts if you get hurt. You can honor my contract all you want, but if my quarterback can't play all year because he got an ACL, then what? I don't care about the money, but we can't win. And does anyone think the Commanders could win without their quarterback if he gets hurt? So I say this. Let's get all the retired guys that want to play, and let's make them commit to playing year-round and traveling around and playing in tournaments all the time till they really know how to play. But I don't really want to see players under contract that are supposed to perform for the season ticket holders and for the networks to be playing in this game. Now, I watched it enough to know you can get hurt, and I don't really want to see my quarterback, if I'm a fan, get hurt playing flag football before the season starts.
Pat, do you think the NFL will try to have their cake and eat it too?
Sure they will.
In which, like in bobsledding, nations can have more than one sled. You can literally, I think you can have some races you can have up to 3, many you can have up to 2 if you're fast enough. Do you think it's possible that the United States could have an NFL team, whether it's retired players or not, but then they could also have a team or two made up of guys who play flag football for a living, and we enter multiple teams and the NFL gets all the promotion and publicity, and however they do, they do.
Well, I don't know what the rules are on that, and if you're allowed to have more than one team. If that's the case, that's how they'll do it. I love the idea of flag football. I know a lot of people who play it. They love it. I know a lot of kids that play it. They love it. I know NFL guys in this draft that said they started their football career playing flag football. High-ranking draft picks in this draft. When you start playing, he goes, well, I played flag till I was 10. I played flag till I was 12. So I get the value of it, but I am not here to make sure Tom Brady gets his gold medal. I'm so tired of that. Why are you using flag football for your own good? You can't play the game the way it has to be played. So if you want to go get a team full of old stiffs that can't move, go ahead, Nate. We'll get a chance to watch them lose.
Speaking of old stiffs, not really stiffs, but old, as I look at the free agents that are left, most of them are old. I don't think this guy's been signed and he's younger. Mekhi Becton kind of made a little resurgence that didn't have a great year last year, but he's only 26. Why hasn't he signed yet, Pat? Is that going to be a guy that a team will sign post-draft? You always talk about the players that are out there as, almost like insurance for not getting the position you want in the draft. Has he become that?
Yeah, well, Philadelphia didn't want him back. They won a Super Bowl and they did not want him back. And I thought that was a little odd that they didn't want him back. He wasn't going to cost a lot, but they didn't want him back. He goes out to the West Coast, and 1 year later, they don't want him back. So I've been tracking all the signings for the last 10 days, Mark. And literally, I have 22 signings of guys under 30 and 1 signing of a guy over 30. So what has the league done on this phase 2/phase 3 of free agency? They're just trying to pick up every 27, 26, 25-year-old they can. And it's a pretty interesting list of all the guys. But when you look at the other ones, I think we should now classify almost all of them as post-draft signings. All these guys in their mid-30s that can play. It goes back to what David said about signing 3 of them and making that your pass rush unit. But you really have to look at this and go, the league is not interested in pre-draft signings of guys over 30. That's what's really happened here in the last 10 days. So as I look at the list, and let's say this, there's still a lot of guys under 30 that need a job. And it looks to me like the NFL is chasing them around. And you can do what you want. Becton's on the list, but John Jennings is still 29. But I can read through this list and bore you to death. But I have at least 25 more guys that are free agents that played last year that are available. And I think that's where the league is headed for the next 2 weeks.
If I'm a Bucks fan, do I look at their signing of linebacker Christian Rozeboom from Carolina, 29, a run stuffer, led the team in tackles, but was a liability on third downs in passing situations. Does that scream that Levante David's not coming back?
I think it probably does. But I think if Levante David went into the office and said, I feel like playing again, they would probably sign him. I don't think they're going to turn him away at the door. But I think he's in the same world as a guy like Bobby Wagner. They love Bobby Wagner. Bobby had another 100 tackle season. They asked Levante David to do a lot of things young guys do. Like he walks out on the slot receiver. You know, it's one thing to stay in the Will Backer spot and blitz a little bit and play the B gap. But when you start, they spread out and they say, David, get out there. That's probably the stuff he can't do anymore.
Well, I even think, Wagner, 100 tackles. Where were the tackles? That's part of the question to me, because they get further and further from the line of scrimmage with some of these guys as well. Pittsburgh, and I guess it's all dependent on when Aaron decides he's coming back. I know the fan base is getting annoyed with it, but it's certainly everything's pointing to Aaron being a Steeler again, right?
Yep, it sure is. Now, this is the same fan base that was mad at him last year, right? He did the same thing basically last year and caught the ire of some of the players. And certainly the fan base that I deal with were not happy that he was, in their minds, insulting the Steeler organization by procrastinating his return. I think this one seems more likely that they don't need to worry about it, that he's going to come back. And he and Michael have this journey together again. And I get why they're doing it. But, yeah, I think so. They're doing nothing. And I think they could always just go with Howard and Rudolph. No, that's not what they'd be doing. But I said this the other day on this show. I would bring, if you felt it was not happening, I'd bring Cousins in for a visit. But they must think it's happening. So I think it will. And I don't think the transition is going to be a problem. I will say this about Rodgers when I was at camp too. They love the guy. The team loved him. And he brought a lot of passion to being there. He took on the responsibility and being a leader. I had lunch in a room with him 2 days in a row, and he had lunch every day with a different guy. He was engaging with them. They told me he was playing video games with them at night and hanging out with the guys. So I think that's what he loves. And it's not being provided any other way in his life, the locker room effect of football. So he'll be back.
We got about 90 seconds. Here's what surprised me, why Rodgers wasn't thought of more highly by Steelers fans. He played for 13 or 14 million last year. And by dragging this out as long as he is this year, he's costing himself money. The Steelers will say, Aaron, we only have X amount of money. I mean, they're getting a bargain with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, last year, Aaron Rodgers told the world he'd play for 10 million. Remember?
Right.
He said it. And then he set his own market. They were nice enough to give him 13 when he said he'd play for 10. But this year, I know you follow this, David, you have not heard one word from Aaron Rodgers about what he wants.
No, he probably wants a little more.
Well, look at Kelsey's deal. We all know what that is. It's not a 3-year deal. It's a 1-year, $12 million deal with a bunch of stuff on the back end he's never going to see. They're going to do the same thing with Rodgers. He's going to get his 1-year deal. Maybe it's $20 million. And then we'll see a bunch of junk on the back out of the 20, it'll be, $10 million signing bonus. And it'll look like 13 again. And 2 years from now, we'll be doing what I did all weekend. You know how many guys I found this weekend that are being on the salary cap, dead money for over $10 million each? You know how many guys in this league? 40. 40 guys are in the book for over $10 million each.
And Pat, no truth to the rumor that half of them are Dolphins.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. AmericanPaintSupplies.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, good to hear you got to go fishing.
Yeah, first time this year, and probably get one more shot at it somewhere down the line after the draft. I am pretty picky on the weather these days. There's no reason
I don't
to go
blame you,
up
especially
and down.
with that, Pat.
No, my knees aren't great. There are a lot of surgeries, and the last time I went out on a rough day because I wanted to go out, my right knee was swollen for a week.
I can imagine because I don't have bad knees, and when I go out fishing, it especially when you go out, and more when I do it in the Keys anywhere else, I'm beat up the next day.
Yeah. No, it's you know what it is. So I'm choosy on the weather conditions. So I love going, and I'll tell you another thing. I own half of this boat, but I don't act like I do. But the reality is I do not like going on the boat. I don't like going on any boat with more than 3 guys because I land up taking care of people with tangled lines and baiting hooks. I want to fish, and I want the other guy fishing and one guy kind of making sure the boat's in the right spot, and then we switch jobs. I don't mind taking that job, but when I get out there with more than that, now you got people, and the boat's big enough to fish 4 or 5 guys, but I don't like it, so I don't do it.
I understand. I think 4 is ideal, but I understand it. 4 is ideal if everybody knows what they're doing.
Right.
That's the key.
That is the key. So, I'd rather go less times. Like it was 2 of us, and it was perfect. 3 is ideal, but after that, I'm like, at the end of the day, I said, we were done by 2 p.m. So
which
that's
is also
another
perfect.
thing. Yeah, we headed back in, and we were in there. Time we finished with the fish and cleaned the boat. It was like 3:30, 4 o'clock maybe, and I was back to see a lot of basketball.
Well, and that's that you and I learned this at a young age because I used to go just never fishing, but just on the lake with my buddy and his dad, and I was his sister and her friends would be out there, and there was a bunch of us. I was always the guy who made sure every cooler got taken up, that the cover was put on the boat, that I was there until the last part was done, because I just felt like I was so thankful that I got invited. And it actually turned out because my buddy had 2 jet skis and the old man had 2 boats. They joked by the time I was done hanging out there, they called the one boat Mark's boat, because I would take he would have, usually there'd be he and I and a couple other guys. Well, 2 of them would take the jet skis, 2 of us would take the boat, and I would take his sister and her friends in the one boat so Dad could have his 2 youngest with his wife and not have to deal with any of the, college age kids. And it became, the joke was the little boat became my boat, but I always took care of it.
Yeah. Well, you adopted it.
Yeah. If they were adopting me, I'll adopt the damn boat.
That's right.
But ever since then, when I go out with anybody, I make sure that I'm grabbing a hose and, doing the crap to make sure it gets done, because I see so many people go out with people on a boat and they pull into the dock and you're like, see you later. Well, there's an hour worth of work to do every time you get off that boat.
Yep.
Especially when you're in salt water.
Yeah. So I kind of enjoy cleaning the boat. There's something in making the boat real clean, But when my grandsons come, they've all learned that they're cleaning. I'll supervise when you guys are here. We don't give out B pluses in boat cleaning. It's A or F.
I'm very excited. There's a printer down the hall. So when I was going back and forth to some of the programs, David and I would crap out. I've got all 7 rounds in front of me. I'm starting to develop my draft order already. So I've got everything handy.
Nice. We have our first mock draft this Friday. So
wow. You guys are starting early.
Well, we always have 1 week for the listeners. They have their own mock draft on the show.
Yep.
Here we go.
So when you count it up, I think it's only like 3 or 4 weeks, and they like having 4 of them.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kerwin of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6. Seth Greenberg of ESPN to talk college hoops coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat and Seth, and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Pat, of course, is brought to us every single time by Pinchers. All right, the JSN contract, it doesn't kick in till 2028. A lot of people, I think, miss that part of the deal. He's playing year 4 this year, year 5 next year on his rookie deal. But then 28 through 31, he's going to make 42 and change a year. 3 of those 4 extra years are guaranteed. Your thoughts on the deal?
I like the deal. The guy has turned into a more than a clutch player. And if you think about it, they're going to do Witherspoon next, right? He'll be the next one done maybe this week. But it starts to clear up maybe why they said no to Ken Walker, and that they were going to take care of these 2 guys with these big deals, and then practice some discipline. And how much discipline does Seattle have? Nobody in the league has less dead money than the Seattle Seahawks. They only have $450,000. The next lowest is $3 million. So they have the World Championship. 2 elite players are getting done, starting with this one, and they have no dead money. Now, that is hard to do. Usually when you win a Super Bowl, you got all kinds of money issues. You spend a lot of money to buy the Super Bowl. So that part of it I love. And Jigba is worth every dime of it. Of course, if he gets hurt, we'll all be saying something different. But it's odd. There's odd numbers in there when you look at – I always look at the rate of pay. How much money are you getting? And you start thinking about 36 and change the first year, this year with everything that's still involved. Wasn't it just 5 days ago they claimed they were putting the option on him and Witherspoon? And then 5 days later, they got a long-term deal done. So pretty nice. And John is doing a great job of building a long-term roster. We'll see if he can replace Walker's running, because Charbonnet's not going to be ready, I don't think. So, but I like this deal, and he's the highest paid. And what do you think Witherspoon's going to be? When I talked to the head coach, he talked about Witherspoon twice as long as he talked about Njigba and his value to the team. And it wasn't slighting Njigba. He could not stop talking about all the things, as he likes to say, Spoon can do.
By the way, when you put JSN and that group of Ohio State receivers together and what they're going to make in the net, and first off, trust me, they're all worth it. They've all been great. But you got a couple more guys that are coming up when their rookie deals are done. I mean, the talk of what that group is going to make and earn in the league and it's worth it. I'll be curious now with Hartline gone, because he was the receivers coach before the OC, what that does to the Buckeyes. But man, oh man, if I were a parent and my kid had one school to go to play receiver, I don't know how you don't send them to Ohio State.
No, you're right about that. That's stable. And, they had that going on with their pass rushers, too. When the Bosa boys were there and Chase came behind them, and it looked like – and they were doing a great job of coaching them. So, yeah, there's quality players. They know how to feature the receivers enough that when they get out, they're ready for pro football right away. And it used to be – David's the historian here. The receivers used to take a year or two in pro football before they figured out. Remember, they don't run enough NFL routes. The guys come out of Ohio State, they can play pro football opening Sunday.
Ohio State and LSU, wide receivers, corners, all right? Seemingly guys that you can plug and play at those positions from those two schools. All right. The one thing about Seattle, though, is Darnold's under contract for 2 more. So in 28, when Spoon and JSN, they start getting paid, in theory, Darnold, he ain't going to take $33 million next go around, is he? So in theory, Seattle's got to make sure they pencil in 50 and change for Darnold, or they got to get a new quarterback.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to wait, personally. I think at the end of this next season, they'll redo a deal with him. I think they're going to get ahead of that. I used to hate when your best players are all due in the same year. You lose a lot of leverage when that happens. I could see them – I'm pretty sure they do it after 1 more year. They might do it even before that. They know what they have, and they don't want to insult the guy. If he comes out of the blocks the way he finished, I don't think they'll hesitate to do a deal quicker and sooner rather than later.
Pat, I know I asked you this before, but you got into the Raiders and the Titans. I'm talking about teams that were playoff teams. I just happened to look at, I do follow the Lions, and they weren't a playoff team, but they were expected to be one. The guy who covers them went through free agency and position groups, and there wasn't anywhere where he said they got better. I'm trying to think of the good teams, and you're happy with what Seattle did with JSN. I think the Rams certainly got better, obviously, with that trade. But, I'm trying to, Denver didn't do much. Philadelphia didn't do much. When you look at the good teams, is there a playoff team from a year ago, the Patriots, who's better now with free agency?
Well, let me say this about Denver, since you brought him up. Getting Waddle, when I was on the sideline of that championship game, to me, the best team lost the game. They were better than New England. And I think we saw that when the Super Bowl came. New England needs to be commended for the progress they've made. But I think Sean Payton looked at his team and said, let me re-sign all these guys, because he did re-sign a lot of players. And he made sure he kept the team he had together. And then he put one piece in it, which is Waddle, plus his draft. He thinks he's going to be better. And the Waddle alone might be enough to say they are better. And then put 1 or 2 draft kids in the mix, and all of a sudden he's going to say, I'm better. And I'll go right back to what we said before. There is a ton of over 30-year-olds that are not getting jobs till after the draft. And 2 or 3 of those guys could shine up your product and make you feel like, yes, we are better. So I do think Denver will be the team to beat out there.
Got a couple minutes left. The Vikings re-signed Carson Wentz since the last time we talked. That makes now for an even more fascinating quarterback room. Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy. Are they really going to have a quarterback battle, or do you think one of these guys has been promised the job?
Well, I talked to Norv Turner about this the other day, and Norv knows the head coach very well. That's why I called and asked him to talk about it. He thought this is going to be hard. I saw Washington try to have a 3-man competition. It was a disaster. Nobody got enough reps to be ready for the opening game. And the kid that was involved in it, the young rookie, the first rounder from Ohio State, who's now dead, he passed away and that truck hit him crossing over in Lauderdale right by the airport. They never got him enough reps. So when he finally played that year, he looked atrocious. So you cannot have a 3-man, and that was Norv's point. You can't have a 3-man competition at quarterback. So we're going to find out real early how they feel about all this. Now, Murray's on a 1-year deal, right? So if you like Murray, you're going to have to put him out there and find out if he's worth extending. Wentz will be the backup guy. I don't know what this means for McCarthy. McCarthy in the old musical chair business could be out.
Well, guy who drafted him's already out. So
is Wentz easy to be the backup without the reps, though? If they give Murray the job, do you have it be Murray versus McCarthy, knowing Wentz doesn't need the reps to be the backup, if you know what I mean, Pat?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think he is. He was a starter in this league, and I remember when David said he almost was the MVP. They had him on the field and in the building last year, and they got a good look at him. He's still athletic. He's still a good athlete to throw the ball and run around. So I think he could be easily ready to go when they get back to 2 quarterbacks. And I think he's their ace in their back pocket about all this stuff. But if Murray turns out to be a guy that the head coach is frustrated with, then he'll be out of here in a year, and then it'll be JJ and Wentz behind him.
he's Pat Kerwin. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today Show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Seth Greenberg, ESPN, College Hoops. We'll talk to him next.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Raj, how we doing with Seth? Hello?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. I'll take care of it. I didn't see your late ad text.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We anticipate talking college hoops with Seth Greenberg of ESPN coming up here in a moment. A couple more days off of the madness before it resumes Thursday night. There's no women's tournament even for the next couple days as well. So certainly time to take a deep break. Giants and Yankees tomorrow night on Netflix, if you're interested. I think I don't know who's doing the play-by. Oh, Matt Verskerzen's doing the play-by-play. And they've got two former players, CC Sabathia, former Yankee, and I think it's Hunter Pence, former Giant. So that's, how they're going to handle the one-off, the Yankees and Giants on Netflix.
And then day 2 is a combination of Peacock and NBC Sports.
Right.
The Pirate game will be on Peacock in the afternoon, and then NBC will air Dodgers on Thursday evening.
Seth Greenberg of ESPN coming up on 15 years with the Four Letter Network after a 22-year coaching career where he's coach of the year 3 different times at 3 different schools, by the way. He's kind enough to join us. You can follow Seth on X at Seth on Hoops. Seth on Hoops. Seth, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. Listen, you throw your opinion out there about a lot of basketball things, but you're a self-proclaimed pizza expert. How much grief does that bring you?
Not a whole lot, because I'm only a pizza expert within my family. So 3 daughters, you probably get a little bit of grief, but I mean, that's what daughters do. So it's all good. That was my daughter. My daughter handles my social media. So she made me an expert in pizza. I'm an expert in eating pizza. I don't know about, evaluating pizza.
Okay.
All right. Let's take the 1 seeds out of it for a moment. Of what's left, who's the best team that's not a 1 seed in your opinion?
Man, there's so many good basketball teams across the landscape of college basketball this year. It depends on, this thing depends on matchups. I think, I would have said Iowa State, but losing Joshua Jefferson is an absolute huge loss. And that's a loss that is hard to overcome. The most talented or most culture-driven team that's left is Houston. I mean, because they've been there before. They were down to the championship game. They've got 2 of their guards back. They imposed their identity on the game, but they are missing those 2 front court guys. And Roberts and Francis were hard to replace. So if I just do a process of elimination, I would probably say Michigan State is a 3, just because of the way they're playing, their physicality, their retention. Jeremy Fears is playing like Cassius Winston. They've got a lot of answers to the question. So, I would think that they might have the upper hand, but that bracket is a bracket of legends, Hall of Famers, and nationally prominent, tradition-rich programs. So there's no easy outs. You get to the Sweet 16, all these teams, even a Texas who was 11 seed. I mean, think about the journey they did. And they were giving up 88 points a game in their last 5 losses. They lost 5 in their last 6. But the way they're playing in the NCAA tournament, they're only allowing people 66 points a game. So you get this far in the bracket, a lot of good teams that have won a lot of games that expect to win.
DC Regional's amazing. Duke, St. John's, and then obviously Michigan State, UConn, the legendary coaches, the blue blood programs. Just remarkable. Hey, I'm not going to focus on the decision that Golden made because, we've seen your comments. We agree with you for what it's worth. Okay, but his strategy, if it had worked, was to get the ball out of the point guard's hands and then foul someone else. Okay, your thought on that? Very analytic driven. I just curious your thoughts on that, playing the final 9 seconds differently than probably just about anybody else would have.
Yeah, especially with such a good defensive team. I mean, they're an elite defensive team. But that's what Todd hangs his hat on all these analytics. And I give him a lot of credit. Led them to a national championship. Look, this is very simple, the game the other day. Walter Clayton wasn't walking through that door. The Achilles heel all season long was the lack of a dominant guard play. As good as Condon, Houck, and Chinyalu were, and I thought Xavier and Boogie got better, but they were not Richard and Martin and Clayton. That's just the way it is. So you replace 3 elite guards with 3 elite big guys, and it's going to impact your ball handling and your late game, quite honestly, execution. And I respect Todd, and look, I don't have a national championship. He has a national championship. So, but to me, I would have trusted my defense. And for sure, even if we couldn't get to give the foul, and even if we wanted to face guard Boogie, I would have taken the guy off the ball because you're 5-on-4. Like you're 5-on-4, if you take the guy off the ball with 8 seconds to go, you have an advantage. You have one more player out in the field than anyone else. I would have face guarded him with Condon, and I would have played Boogie behind Sturtz, and then someone else would have gotten the ball, and you could have executed your plan. But to me, the whole thing was just about, you do what you want to do in terms of fouling or not fouling and getting last possession, having some confidence in your team. But the but is, if you're going to do that, it's real simple. Why do you have a man on the ball? Because you get the man off the ball, and he's face guarding, and you got Boogie behind Sturtz, then someone else is going to have to catch the ball. And then you give that foul. So if that's his philosophy, God bless him. I understand that. He's very, very bright. He's a terrific coach. Terrific. I love the guy to death. But that was my thing. If you're going to do that, then take the guy off the ball so Sturtz doesn't get the ball. Instead, he got the ball on the move with Boogie behind, and the game was over.
All right, let's look ahead to some of these games, Seth. Michigan and Alabama. Alabama had to, they Hofstra and then a Texas Tech team with maybe without their best player, but now Holloway obviously still out. So when you look at Alabama, Michigan, we like Alabama because they're fun. They can roll the ball out and score 90 against anybody. This Michigan team is elite. What does Alabama have to do to give Michigan a game?
It's the matchups in the front court. The front line of Michigan is just so imposing. It's 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan. It was 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan. It's a wide body in Johnson. What they've got to do is, everyone says, use your quickness, beat them at the 3-point line, which Alabama can do. Wisconsin beat them at the 3-point line when they made 15 threes against them in a win early in the season. I mean, teams that have beat them have made shots. Now, the teams that have given the hardest problem, though, have guarded them like Michigan State and Purdue and Duke. And that's it. Make it a half-court game. Be really, really physical. Blow up all those ball screens by pushing up and going underneath them, getting them off their spot in the low block. I'm not sure that Alabama's built for that, so they're going to try to run up and down. But that's where Michigan is, in a lot of ways, at their best because they come out in waves, and it takes away the decision-making in the half-court of Elliot Cadeau. Like, I want Elliot Cadeau in a half-court game where he's got to make decisions. Now, he's been great this year, but he also wasn't great against Duke. So, I mean, I think they got to find a balance of running an opportunity, but and playing ahead of those bigs. But they got it on the defensive end. They got to find a way to set their defense. Because if you don't set your defense against Michigan, it's a long night.
Seth Greenberg, ESPN. Follow him on X. It's Seth on Hoops. Seth on Hoops. Can the same thing be said about Illinois matching up with Houston?
Yes, that's going to come down to rebounding. That game's going to come down to, Illinois runs a lot of ball screens. They're going to all get blown up with blitzes. How are you going to handle the short rolls and playing out of the blitzes? They're going to, they don't throw it a ton into the post. Like the pair of Avicius's, they're really not beating you on the block. They're beating you on spacing and at the elbow and passing and things of that nature. But it's the ball screens that's going to be important. The overall size of Illinois could be a factor. And then, Illinois has got to be able to just literally build the wall around the 3-point line. They got to build the wall line, the front line, be connected. Ty Boswell being back for them is good because that guy, he's an initiator of offense. Stojakovic is going to drive it. He's going to drive it under control. And Keaton Wagler is phenomenal, but he's going to be lit up a little bit by that defense. This is a game I think Illinois can win. But for some reason, these marquee games, as many games as they wanted, as well as they played, they haven't played well in these marquee games. So I'm going to be interested to see how they deal with the physicality and the athleticism of Houston.
We pay some attention to analytics, but we thought the Big 12, even though it didn't rank out as the best conference, we thought it was the best conference. Arkansas, part of the SEC that got the most teams in. So John Cal with a hot Arkansas team against Arizona. How do you see what Arkansas has to do to win this game?
They got to rebound. It really comes down to that. They got to rebound and they got to post defend. The Bigs got to stay out of foul trouble. Darius Acuff Jr. can make plays, and that matchup with Karchenko is going to be interesting. Karchenko is about 6'7", 6'8", and he's really physical and he's tough and he's kind of wired differently. And they'll get after Darius. They have protection at the rim, which is important because Acuff's one of the great layup makers in college basketball. But I think this game's really going to come down to, can Arkansas finish possessions with a rebound? That's absolutely huge. And then can they can't trade baskets against Arizona. Arizona is just, at times Arkansas doesn't guard as consistently as they need to. They give up too many easy baskets. So rebounding the ball, being committed on the defensive end consistently is going to be the key to that game.
Seth, I know a lot of people, and us included, I mean, we miss our mid-majors, our Cinderella, in this year's tournament. But I don't know if you can get much cooler than an Iowa-Nebraska Sweet 16 where one of these two teams is going to be in the Elite Eight. I mean, I know they're Power 4 schools, for goodness sakes, but they're both extremely lovable.
Well, they can make shots, both of them, that's for sure. They play 5 out. Both of them play 5 out. Both of them are really physical. Both of them are really well coached. Both of their bigs, handle the ball and pass the ball, which opens up the floor. Both of them have an edge too. Like if you watch Nebraska, they have an edge. They've got a little asshole in them, to be honest with you. And I mean, same thing with Iowa. I mean, they've got an edge. So I mean, I think it'll be a really fiercely competitive game. They split the games during the season. Iowa probably wants something in the low 60s. I think Nebraska wants to play a little faster, but I think it's a big time game. It really is. And the Big Ten is such a terrific league. The depth of the Big Ten, the ownership of the fan bases, the physicality, the shot making, the game preparation. It's incredibly well coached league.
All right, the big boy bracket, at least as far as history and teams. We like Pitino. We think he has the coaching edge against Duke. Is that enough to beat Duke?
I don't think he's coming out of coaching edge. John Shire is a hell of a coach, and I understand Rick Pitino's 72, and he's a great coach and won a zillion games and been to a zillion Sweet 16s and won national championships and done all those things. John Shire at the end of the game is masterful. Both of them got to this point because they are as good as they are. I mean, this game can St. John's turn Duke over? Can they get into their bench? It's plain and simple. I mean, like Duke only has one point guard, Caden Boozer. He's playing great. Caleb Foster went out. That was a huge blow. His experience, his ability to defend was a huge blow. Having Patrick Gamba back gives him some versatility in the front court. But if Caden Boozer gets in foul trouble or Caden Boozer gets worn down, Cam Boozer is their point guard. And especially against that pressure of Duke, getting the ball inbounds on a made shot. Now, pressure of St. John's. Now, here's the deal. St. John's is offensively challenged. The big question is going to be, can St. John's score against Duke? Because there was as many air balls and inbounds passes denied as there were baskets made in the first half of that St. John's game the other day. So can St. John's make enough shots, keep people honest? Can they impose their identity and be so physical on the defensive end, stopping Duke from getting the ball in bounds and disrupting them? And then how does Caden Boozer and the backcourt of St. John's hold up against the physicality and the relentless pressure of St. John's?
Seth, we're up against a hard break. Next time, if you're kind enough to come back on our show, we'll get into South Florida, place where you coached for 7 years, and what you think big picture life could be like for the Bulls a generation after you were there. We really appreciate your time and your insight. Continued success with ESPN and all the best going forward.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Seth Greenberg of ESPN. Follow him on X, Seth on Hoops. Seth on Hoops. 7 years at South Florida, a generation ago when they were in Conference USA.
Remember when that was a good conference?
Especially
in basketball.
Yes.
Multi-bid league every year. Good teams in that conference. And obviously, with all the realignment and teams going everywhere, it's not what it once was. But man, that was a hell of a basketball conference not that long ago, David.
And you're right. You got at-larges out of that conference every year. Had to
Every
figure on
single year.
two. Had to. Yep. So Seth Greenberg joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin, Seth Greenberg this hour, joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Diamond District Bonus Hour. That's what we do next on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Some rings are beautiful. Takoi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Takoi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Takoi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Takoi. April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Espanol.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Boy, I nearly made a mistake that cost me part of that segment. Rode the elevator down with a couple younger, and I noticed he had a water bottle that had UK on it. So I engaged. He got a talking. But he went there when Pope was there, so he likes Pope. He thinks, he wants him to have another year, doesn't want him fired, but it was just funny. He's like, you a college hoop guy? And I told him what I did, and I told him what I did simply because I'm like, I'm doing it right now. I need to
Right.
go up and continue.
By the way, we have Seth Greenberg waiting. I have to go.
Right. I was one sentence away from I got Seth Greenberg next. I really have to go.
Right. I mean, I like your insight, but I like his better.
How about that a-hole bomb? Love it.
Yeah. How
Well
about
done.
that?
And I'm about 100% sure we have no delay here, so that went out.
Hell,
Oh,
we're
well.
just lucky it's on the air. Boom.
Exactly.
Can I pick up where we left off for a few minutes?
With what?
With
College hoop?
With Conference USA specifically 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Because I think it will shock people. Who was in the
I was
conference?
afraid you were doing before we had guests and we're going back to the 7:00 hour, to which I had no idea what we were talking about.
It's so funny when I send Trent the rundown every day, and literally we just complete segments and I'm struggling to write down what it is we talked about.
It's a lot harder than you think it is. It's funny. We got into all those games. You were right where I was. I was going to go with Seth. Hey, if you were advising South Florida, who are the three names on your short list?
Because he speaks of South Florida fondly. All right. He doesn't dog South Florida. He was here 7 years. Got the Virginia Tech job off of the job he did in South Florida.
Frozen Four start Friday this week, or
not
the
Thursday.
Frozen Four, but the tournament.
Yes.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it Thursday or Friday? You might be right.
I don't know.
I know Sioux Falls is one of the regions. That's where North Dakota is.
And Denver's hosting one. I think it's in Loveland, Colorado. The 26th.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Thursday.
So Thursday, yeah. I'll be very curious how Vegas goes over.
I mean, it usually does pretty well.
I understand, but I'm just curious.
And think about it. The hoop's over. So as far as availability of hotel rooms and things like that, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, it's Masters weekend, but yes. But yeah, it's what? The 2 games Thursday and the title game Saturday?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Hey, do you mind if I just go back a few minutes?
Yeah, I mean, where are you going? I mean, just a few minutes, an hour. We have back-to-back guests. I never know. I mean, does that mean we're talking about the Giants and Yankees? I'm just not sure.
Okay. Well, first off, when I was growing up, a few was 3 to 30. Okay, so I'm not going back that far. But no, literally, I just want to go back to the end of our last segment. If you're just joining us now, we had Seth Greenberg on. Before that was Pat Kerwin. But, we just did 15 minutes college hoops. And at the end, we mentioned to Seth, hey, would love to have you on again. Would love to talk to you about South Florida, because he was the head coach of the Bulls for 7 years. Only had one losing season, and that was his first year, and he inherited a mess That's why he got the job. And otherwise, he did a solid job, won a regular season conference title in Conference USA, one of his seasons in South Florida. Okay. And you said, man, I remember when Conference USA was a salty little conference. So I went back to one of Seth's last years. I don't know if this was his last year. I think it was his second to last year at South Florida. It's 2003, for what it's worth.
Okay.
These are the teams in Conference USA. First off, 14 schools, 2 7-team divisions.
And wasn't it? I mean, I don't know how many of the Big Ten at that point already, but it was one of the first really big conferences as far as number of teams. They kind of blew the doors off of how many teams can we put in our conference.
Listen to the number of schools who have gone so much bigger in the last 20 years, football driven also. You want to know the power of football? Take a look at the Conference USA basketball standings from 20 years ago. Marquette won the 1 division. Okay, they're in the Big East now. Louisville was second. Cincinnati was third. The other division, Memphis won it. South Florida was fourth. Houston, fifth. TCU finished last. So, think of some of these schools and where they've gone in a generation. Marquette's in the Big East. Louisville's in the ACC. Cincinnati's in the Big 12. Houston's in the Big 12. TCU is in the Big 12. Yeah, they were all in Conference USA a generation ago.
There are 12 teams. Well, 12 teams, I think. Now, is La Tech the one that's in 2 conferences right now?
Yes.
Okay. So there are an 11 and a half teams currently in Conference USA.
Right.
David, I almost should make you do this without listing it. It actually might be fun. I will give you, we're going to take Louisiana Tech out. Name me 5 Conference USA schools.
FIU.
Correct.
Okay.
That's 1.
I don't think FAU's in the same conference with FIU. So, Southern Miss.
That is incorrect.
Damn. Wow.
This has become, I believe it's the Sun Belt might be behind it and the MAC's behind it. It's one of the 3 worst conferences now in collegiate athletics.
UAB.
That is also incorrect.
Oh, man. By the way, UAB 20 years ago finished second in their division. Tulane was also in the conference. Okay. I don't know if any of these 14 schools that were in the conference a generation ago are still in the conference now. I don't think any of them are.
I don't either. And David, I have the football standings. I don't know if they have others for basketball. Just because of the app that I'm on, it's easier for me to pull football standings up. But I will give you the football teams in Conference USA. You did land 1 with FIU.
Right.
They finished 6th in the conference, well, tied for 4th, technically. Kennesaw State won the conference last year at 7-1. They were tied with Jacksonville State for the regular season title.
Ooh.
Western Kentucky was 3rd. Louisiana Tech, Missouri State, and FIU all had 5-3 records. Delaware was next at an even 4-4.
Oh, that's right. Delaware has joined.
Liberty was 3-5. High expectations, did not exceed or even meet close to what their expectations were. I know one of our listeners would have been able to answer at least this one because his name has this school included in his handle on Twitter. Middle Tennessee State is a Conference USA representative, as is New Mexico State, UTEP, and Sam Houston.
Hello.
Think about where that, the power of football, Louisville, TCU, Houston, Cincinnati.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep. And some schools who are begging. They're above Conference USA now, but they're not Power 4. And they are begging to get in, like Memphis, South Florida, Tulane, East Carolina, all in Conference USA a generation ago, all at a higher level now, but not the level they need to get to. I mean, think about where Houston and TCU
little
were.
walk down memory lane with the changes.
Right.
Crazy.
Think about where Houston and TCU were and where they are now.
TCU's played for a national championship. Houston's made the Final Four. And very well, they're the favorite to get back to the Final Four in their region. Sure, Illinois could beat them, but they're not favored to.
Well, yeah, now with Florida losing. And Houston's playing where?
In Houston.
Hello. So, anyway, I just wanted to take a snapshot in time from a generation ago and go, look how much things have changed. Never mind the fact that in a league like that, to get an at-large right now nearly takes a subpoena.
Oh, that conference isn't getting an at-large. Teams I just mentioned, you're crazy.
You would literally have to have like somebody go 31-0 in the regular season and not win the conference tournament.
100%. 100%, David. You're absolutely correct when you say that.
And it's interesting, the footnote that UTEP is in Conference USA because this week is the anniversary of what was Texas Western, which is now UTEP, beating Kentucky in one of the most famous college basketball games of all time to win the national championship. What was it, 60 years ago? Was it 66? So, and now here they are languishing in Conference USA.
Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks to Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. I will say, because we're on in Tampa and Jacksonville, I know a lot of you join us via the apps for this hour. For my Tampa audience, I'm still looking for more restaurant recommendations. I'm here for another 6 weeks. I've been doing the best I can. Found a great sandwich joint last week. Got a place I'm going to try my Chicago beef so I can get back to Jimmy the Beef Guy and let him know he's very interested. But 21,000, the text line. And hell, for the Jacksonville audience, they can give it to us too. We'll send Moulton out on the road.
Yes.
Every once in a while, he leaves his house and goes somewhere that's not a fast food restaurant. Not often, but he's not afraid to do it.
No, you were very accurate in your description. Every once in a while. Yeah.
Baseball, you mentioned starting Thursday. This Thursday slate of games. And, I don't know what the Yankees, it's on Netflix, so it's not really going to factor into the ratings. But I wonder how many people, because we've talked about it, when you're on an app, it's hard to switch over. Those 7:00 games are, if you're an Iowa or Nebraska fan, I get it. It's sexy to you. But the games Thursday don't look as good on paper as the games Friday.
Oh, my goodness, not even close. No, I mean, if you were doing this, it's all a TV show. If you were the NCAA and you had a commissioner, I know you've already predetermined the dates and what have you, so you couldn't move it around. But, boy, you would want to. Because you could take any region on Friday and move it to Thursday, and it would be the two headline games.
Right. And on paper, the two best games are the late games. Arkansas, Arizona, and Illinois, Houston. And they're scheduled to start at 9:45 and 10:05. They
Right.
won't. So, just curious. You got Texas and Purdue in the first one. Then you got Iowa and Nebraska. If baseball were on NBC that night.
Well, isn't it?
Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. Baseball's on NBC. So the Dodgers are going against this. Look, the tournament's going to win. But does baseball have a chance to steal some viewers because of what we're getting on Thursday?
Be interesting. If you missed it earlier, early NCAA tournament ratings, highest ratings in 15 years. Now, is that because they have the new way of doing ratings and most every sport has higher ratings? Or all the big schools, all the big teams, you all say you want your mid-majors and your Cinderellas. All we know is when they go deep in the tournament, the ratings go down. When the big boys are playing, the ratings are up.
And wasn't the worst viewership of the tournament in recent memory was the year FAU and Miami made the Final Four?
Along with San Diego State.
Right.
Yes. Right. Ratings disaster.
Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Poll question. You've got 4 quarterbacks: Mahomes, Brady, Manning, and Montana. Who you start?
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi, April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, Don. I know there's something Alabama barbecue that's kind of won the best barbecue in Tampa. I tried one other just because it was Uber Eats and they delivered. But it did the bill because I needed barbecue. I looked up where it is. It's not that far away, so. I appreciate it though, Don. I don't know if it's worthy of mentioning here because I don't think I couldn't do a whole segment on it. I don't know if you could get us there, but there's literally on this Street and Smiths or whatever that I get a thing that's got headlines every day. There's actually a bipartisan bill to keep the prediction markets out of sports. I wonder if that will get if it has a chance. You know, what is it that Kelce and Poly market? That Kelce's spending a lot of money advertising.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. For you Michiganders, apparently FanDuel, the TV network, is going dark mid-April, which makes sense. The first round of the Red Wings, which I think they can carry if they were to make it, and they're not. And with the Tigers not being on. Now the Pistons are on that, so that's interesting. We are not on a radio station for this hour in Fort Myers. We are only on 6 to 9 in the Fort Myers market. And 98.1 and 105.9 are the Collier and...
Well, I think 98.1 is gone.
Oh, 94.1. Sorry.
Right, we're
94.1.
And 103.3 in Lee County and 105.9 in Collier.
If you happen to have HD radio, 92.5 and 93.7 HD2. But again, we are not on from 9 to 10 in that market. That's all right. Insider info in sports. I don't know if y'all saw, someone spent $1.5 billion yesterday taking futures and oil prices right before somebody announced that they weren't going to bomb anymore.
5 minutes. 5 minutes
right
early. Not that he had inside information or anything.
Right. I don't think it would be that tough to find, Paula, if they wanted to. I think it would be relatively easy. I think it would take 30 seconds if they actually wanted to know. And this is a both sides of the aisle issue. You look back at the money these politicians have made over the years with stocks, it's not even right.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, this is not an anti-R or an anti-D thing. They both cheat like hell. They always have and they always will.
Both corrupt.
Don't let anybody think I'm picking sides here.
No, both corrupt, both bought and paid for just by different people. Oh yeah, disgusting.
George Carlin was right what he said over 20 years ago.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. All coming up on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Poll question today in honor of Peyton Manning's 50th birthday. We came up with a football poll question that we said, yeah, he belongs in it. So one game. Teams are even. Quarterback will make the difference. Who are you picking? Tom, Peyton, Mahomes, Montana. Who are you picking?
Brady has moved out into the lead, slightly ahead of Montana. Peyton and Patrick are way back. I mean, So much so that they would need a secretariat like Belmont to catch the two. Yeah, you know, I'm starting to pay attention, David. Starting to sniff around the horses.
Did you see the recent documentary that they did on the Niners dynasty in the 80s and 90s? Do you know who voiced it? Tom Brady. Talked about how big the team was to him and his dad and his family. And I think he was 4 when Montana hit Clark for, the game-winning touchdown, for the catch, as it's known in the Bay Area.
Pretty much everywhere. I mean, that.
Right. So, and he took an active role in it. I mean, he threw passes with Jerry Rice. He said, "This is a huge thrill for me." Jerry said, "You're Tom Brady, right?" And Tom's like, "Yeah, but I didn't get to throw passes to you. You and Joe, you were my guys." So
there's a few documentaries I need to take in, because there's a series, or a mini series, if you will, that I think it's on Prime, that they did on the ABA, that I can't believe I haven't watched yet, to be brutally honest.
I'm totally with you. For the love that you and I have for the various aspects of the ABA, and I'm fortunate in the last few years, I got a chance to broadcast games with Artis Gilmore of Jacksonville and ABA fame before NBA fame. All right. Yeah, I'm with you.
So that's one I want to take in. I've seen, I'll encourage you, David. And, David Sampson was great when you weren't there one day. You had some things to take care of. And it was the one time we've had David Sampson on. Yes. It was before I made my trip to the hospital, and I did not know I was going to be able to do shows from the hospital. And I had just watched the Expos documentary, and David Sampson's a big part of that documentary.
How could he not be?
But he said he thought he was treated very fairly in the documentary. And he's public enemy number 1 or 2 in Montreal.
So what was the documentary? Who Killed the Expos?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
something like that. But, he's responsible.
Yeah.
But as he makes the case, so's Montreal. And it's very well done. And for those of you that love the Expos, and David, I know you do.
Uh-huh.
So I think there's a lot of good sports stuff out there, and I probably shouldn't be rewatching The Sopranos. I probably should be watching sports documentaries, but it's a guilty pleasure. What can I say?
Yeah, there's time for both. I mean, there's time to get around to both. But yes, the Expos were a bit of a, I was always intrigued by them. My team's in the National League, so the Expos were the National League team in Canada. I didn't see a whole lot of games in Toronto growing up. I mean, the Yankees would go there for a few series a year. I did have access to Yankees games, but I'm a Mets guy. Mets and Expos were in the same division. I remember it vividly. It was a fireworks night at Shea. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she
the Mets
was
fan in your life, right?
Right. She's the one who turned me on to the Mets. She would go at least once a year. We would buy the programs and the yearbooks, so that she had a Mets yearbook for every year of their existence. Okay. When she passed away in January of 85, she had 23 Mets yearbooks, 62 through 84, stacked up. And when I'd go over her house, she'd have some things to do and what have you. I would go through those yearbooks. I knew every fact in it and became a Mets fan. But Mark, remember, you couldn't double up Tim Raines. And it was fireworks night at Shea, and Tim Raines hit a hard 2-hopper to short, and the Mets 6-4-3 Tim Raines. Okay. And I literally thought I had seen a no-hitter. I turned to my grandmother and I'm like, he doesn't hit into double plays.
Speaking of no-hitters, I was going down my TikTok hole yesterday, and there was a video on Doc Ellis throwing his no-no while on acid.
Right.
While Doc Ellis is being interviewed about it, saying that he couldn't see the batters. He knew whether they were right-handed or left-handed, and that the catcher had to put tape on his fingers so he could see the signals. And basically alluded to that he was high every time he pitched. Now, his teammates didn't know what he was high on, but he was typically high every time he threw. Different world, to say the very least.
Just a little bit.
But I will tell you one thing we will give you. Whether or not it wins is up to you. You know, my dirty degenerate stat went 1-2. I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed. 2 free throws cost me a winning record in that. But we'll give at least 2 solid baseball under-overs tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We've been money. Last 2 years, over-unders, I think we're 7-0 on baseball over-unders.
6-1 or 7-1 because we were wrong on our Reds a couple of years ago. They burned us, if you remember.
Okay, yeah. And so then we doubled down last year and got it back. Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're 6-1 on baseball over-unders the last 2 years.
I'm guessing the Braves numbers moved. But
just unbelievable.
Man, oh man. I mean, are they practicing at the same place the Niners are? What the hell's going on?
It's so unfortunate because they're losing their pitching too.
Right.
I mean, damn. I mean, it's Chris Sale and pray for rain for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season for the Braves. I mean, seriously, one of their 5 starters, Mark, the stat that I saw is that he has played for more teams in the last 2 years than he has pitched in major league games.
So the baseball season underway tomorrow. Everybody pretty much playing on Thursday. And then you'll see very low attendance numbers throughout Major League Baseball on Friday.
Yep. When the night games kick in. Yeah. In March in all the northern cities. Yeah.
Because per their usual, they're opening in a lot of places that they shouldn't be playing in, in March. As much as Seth wants snow in November for a World Series and a blizzard to cancel a World Series game,
right?
David and I are that way at the start of the season because it's ridiculous when you can control the schedule and yet you don't.
Right. He wants Cleveland, I think it is, Colorado.
Right.
World Series because he wants multiple games snowed out. Yes, Miller and Moulton are begging. Can we be put in charge of one thing in Major League Baseball? Can we do the opening series scheduling, please? It's going to be really simple. If you're in the South or you have a dome, you're going to be hosting games the first week of the year.
Like to us, Arizona taking on the Dodgers makes no sense.
Right.
Those are 2 teams that both should be having home games.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. Today was the day when the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what's on tap. And there's plenty on tap tonight. We'll get to it next. Thanks for listening.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm seeing the High Point coach connected to South Florida.
I like it.
I'd love it for the Bulls. I know I said this quote yesterday from Ben McCollum of Iowa. If you're a tough dude, this is a good spot for you. If you're soft and you like yourself way too much, this is probably not the place. Mr. Spivey, I know I'm crazy. And I swear if I'm the ACC, I'm trying to send Stanford and Cal back out west, pay them to go, and replace them with South Florida and one or two other schools. I swear. Excuse me. What did we just talk about that segment?
Little baseball. Yeah, we did a little baseball. We did, geez, oh, Pete. I'm already thinking about something else. That's my problem. Oh, yeah, sports documentaries. The Niners. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Glad someone remembers.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Home stretch of Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Pat Kerwin and Seth Greenberg joined us last hour. If you ever miss any part of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com. Download what you missed. All right. Show usually gets posted by lunch, so feel free.
If not, I start hollering at somebody.
Right. Because he's already been paid, too.
Well, that's your mistake.
Right. No,
you pay them
true.
that much in advance, they get lazy. You figured that out quickly.
Well, he does get forgetful on occasion.
I know.
Right? Yeah, he's got that attention deficit thing going.
He certainly does.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a hardworking. He's a Gen Zer, right? I think he's of the age.
Oh boy,
I
don't
think he
even
is.
know.
Yeah, he's a Gen Zer.
I think you and I are in different ones. Do I qualify for
you
one?
You kind of qualify for Gen X. You're kind of in the no man's land because you're not a boomer, and you're really not a Gen Xer.
Right. I think the one ends in 64 and I'm 65 and yeah.
And I'm at the beginning of Gen X really. But, we'll let you in, even though I don't really think you qualify as a Gen Xer.
Right. And I don't know if I want in. Is this like getting invited to a Power 4 conference? Because if so, I want in.
I have to be honest, though, with the way the millennials act and with the way the boomers act, Gen Z at best is the Big 12.
Well,
because the other two have taken claim of the SEC and Big 10, and then they fight over which one they are as they yell at one another. But they've largely left us alone. That's why I said Big 12.
Well, then I think that's the conference I want to be in.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1936. The Red Wings beat the Montreal Maroons 1-0 at 16:30 of the sixth period of overtime. The game went 9 periods scoreless before the Wings would win at the 16:30 mark of the sixth overtime.
No 3-on-3, Bull. No shootouts, okay?
Elvis joins the Army today in 58. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards performed their first paid gig. They appeared as Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys at a club in England in 1962. The Godfather released nationwide today in 72. That would be a legitimate question. It would show age of people. Better mob movie, Goodfellas or Godfather? Because a lot of people think Goodfellas is better.
Yeah, I know. They're crazy.
Today in 74, in what was the first tournament officially designated as the D1 Championship, NC State beats Marquette 76-64. Without this fight in 75, we don't get Rocky. Ali TKOs Chuck Webner in the 15th for the title. Today in 79, the semifinal game, Magic, a triple-double, 29, 10, and 10, as the Spartans beat Penn. What's funny, David, when I looked this up, it said Penn State. No. Penn.
Because it was all regional then.
And it was, you didn't put a team, from the East out West.
No.
That's why UCLA always got to the region final. The West was not that strong. Not that they didn't have great teams, but they would cruise if you look at a lot of those things.
All right. Remember earlier in the show, I said that UConn, the women, were up 65-12 at the half in an NCAA tournament game. Okay. Do you remember how badly, because, it was Magic. That's your guy. This is probably the first team that you remember. You were 9 or 10.
Yeah, I remember the team before because they lost to Kentucky Magic's freshman year. So I was all in with Magic's, and I watched, believe it or not, they used, David, to tell you where college basketball was, you know what? We watched a lot of those games that year on the PBS channel, 23 out of East Lansing would carry games on the student TV station, basically.
Well, I probably should have had it in front of me, but I think Penn was held to like 12 points in the first half. It was like 40-something to 12 at the half, Michigan State.
Today in 1980, the nightly show, the Iran Hostage Crisis Program, was renamed. It became Nightline. The Matrix premiered today in 1999. Well, I thought it was a good movie. Never saw any of the sequels and never felt like I missed anything. They kind of told me what it was about. And the U.S. version of The Office premiered today in 2005. Houdini, Clyde Barrow, Bonnie and Clyde, Joseph Barbera, Hannah and Barbera, the King of Cool, Steve McQueen, and Louis Anderson would have all celebrated birthdays today. LPGA golfer Pat Bradley is 75. So is designer Tommy Hilfiger. Gary Templeton had a great glove. He's 70. So is Steve Ballmer. He's rich. The Undertaker, my favorite all-time wrestler, is 61. Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory is 53. Allison Hannigan is 52. That name probably doesn't ring a bell with you. But if I were to say this one time at band camp, you now know who I'm talking about. Peyton Manning is 50, Chris Bosh 42, and Damar Hamlin's 28 years old. What did I miss, David?
Well, 3 things, I believe, but I was looking up the halftime score, and Michigan State led Penn 50-17 at the half of that Final Four game. Did you have today Exxon Valdez in 89?
I did not.
Okay. Because I'm a big fan. Today's the day Halle Berry won her Oscar.
I left that. I saw that, and I left that one for you because she's always been on your list.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I mean, right behind Elizabeth Shue, I think.
Well, no, she might be. They're
1A.
They're 2 of the top 3. Put it that way. 2 of the top 3. And it was 13 years ago today that FGCU became the first 15 seed to go to the Sweet 16 when they beat San Diego State by 10 in the second round. 13 years ago.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to San Francisco for the good. We're a couple of brothers, Desmond and Ethan Hua, got an idea for a nonprofit redistribution service after a boy at their school, Bayside Academy, was wearing shorts on a cold day. When they asked him why he was freezing his knees off, he said he didn't have another pair of pants to last him until laundry day. So they took it upon themselves to start recycling school uniforms, and now have given over 14,000 uniforms and school clothes to kids in need. Good for them. Not even something I was thinking about at 14. Not even close. For the bad, we come back to the Sunshine State, where a man was pulled over in Tampa because in the back of his truck bed, he had what appeared to be missiles. Fortunately for everyone else, they were plastic and he uses them apparently for shows, but it certainly looked like the pickup had missiles ready to launch out of its bed. Only in Florida, they say. And finally, the ugly, we go to Panama City Beach, where a new law is in order to prevent kids on spring break from twerking. That's right. You can be arrested for dancing in Panama City Beach. Now, apparently, that you can twerk, but at what level it is allowed remains to be seen.
What?
Because you can be charged with disorderly conduct for twerking, I don't know, too sexually, too much. I don't know. But I'm guessing in Lauderdale it's okay. I'm guessing on Fort Myers Beach it's okay. But then again, I don't know. Panama City? No. Twerk at your own risk. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 24th. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Looking for a great job, police officers? Looking for a great city to do it in? Well, Cape Coral is your answer. Great pay, a $10,000 signing bonus, plenty of overtime opportunities. For all information on police jobs and other jobs within the police department, go to capecops.com. capecops.com.
Just about the whole league is playing tonight, in the NHL. 15 hockey games tonight. One of them nationally televised. It's the Lightning at home against the Wild, 7:30 TNT. Lots of big games, though, tonight. I mean, just about every game seemingly in the Eastern Conference is a big game these days. But Ottawa and Detroit are two teams on the outside looking in. Detroit by a point, Ottawa by 2. They played tonight in Detroit. Both need a regulation win desperately. I could go through about 7 other games, but
well, I'm going to say something I've never said on this show before, David. 3 words I know that I've never uttered, certainly not in a row. Go Leafs, go.
Because they're at Boston. The Kraken are across the alley taking on the Panthers tonight. So
nationally televised game, the Wild and Lightning. I mean, that very well could be a Stanley Cup final preview. Those are 2 really good teams.
Boy, here's the funny thing. I think we both like the Lightning's chances of getting out of their own division a lot better. Hell, I like the Lightning's chances of getting out of the conference better than I like the Wild's chances of getting out of their own division.
I can't argue with one thing that you say about that one, but that's a good game right there. I mean, It really is. That's the nationally televised game. Another monster game. How this is a big game is beyond me, because it shouldn't have been. But Columbus fires their coach. They get on a roll. They're at Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is still in this thing.
I know. They keep winning.
Yeah, that's a big game for both.
Yeah, Philly's still very much in it. And Columbus has played their way right now so that they're in, albeit by a point, but they're in. NBA doubleheader is NBC Peacock. Early, Orlando at Cleveland. Man, Magic lost at home to the Pacers last night. Should we just take them in the 10.5 at Cleveland, because they got to make up for that? That's a horrendous loss. The Magic are now an 8
really
seed.
bad. No, you're right. It's really bad.
But Orlando at Cleveland at 8, and then at 11 Eastern, Denver at Phoenix.
Another big game. Denver's trying to maybe they can get to the 3. Phoenix, I think, is locked in the play in. They're far enough back where I don't think they can get there. But they've been playing better the second half. So interesting game in that one. Knicks and Pelicans and Charlotte and Sacramento don't much matter.
If you need something to bet on, and therefore to watch on ESPN2 tonight, NIT quarterfinals, Wichita State, Tulsa. Tulsa at home, a 3.5-point favorite. St. Joe's and New Mexico. The late game, New Mexico at home, a 10.5-point favorite in the pit. So,
And if none of this interests you, match 2 of the TGL finals. Tiger Woods playing for the Jupiter team.
Stab me in the neck.
Look, I'm watching hockey. I won't put a second of TGL on, but it is Tiger.
No, I know. Hey, I know you're doing your job. You're doing it well.
Nothing bothers David more than me bringing TGL up.
Oh, my goodness.
He brings up LIV. I bring up TGL. Which one do more people watch on television?
Oh, my goodness. Not even close.
Right. Just saying.
Not even close.
Seth Everett will join us on the show tomorrow, and then whatever else we seem to get between now and then. That's how it works.
Well, we'll definitely have some baseball tomorrow. I mean, not just because the Yankees and the Giants are opening up the season tomorrow night on Netflix, but, you know, the Rays are on the road Thursday. Marlins, I believe, are home Friday for their opener. So we've got calls in to the broadcasters of both the Rays and the Marlins, and we're going to have baseball the rest of the week, I promise you.
And does Tiger force a match 3?
Oh, jeez.
I couldn't help myself there. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll do this all over again tomorrow, 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Some rings are beautiful. The Koi rings are unforgettable. April 17th through the 19th, Koi brings their entire collection to the Diamond District. Extraordinary engagement, breathtaking wedding bands, and Koi's newest fine jewelry for spring. Here for one unforgettable weekend. The Legend of Koi. April 17th through the 19th at the Diamond District. Hablamos Español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.